Hello and welcome to Critical Rollback,
where we promise not to show you any units of measurement, whether it be 1.5 by 1.5 inches or otherwise.
Right, okay. My name is Jana.
My name is Bal.
And today, for the first time ever, here with us is our very first guest, Christine.
Hi!
Hi! Who are you? Why are you here?
How'd you get here?
I got here because I've known you guys for a long time. I've lost count. I think we met sometime like approximate time skip VM circa, I think.
Yeah, like a solid 4 years ago.
I started talking to you before I started talking to Bob because Bob wouldn't respond.
Yeah, and I think we started talking in the
in the IU Discord, right?
No, it was, yeah, that was when we started talking about it. I think it was like in the comments of one of your Ioun posts. I think.
That sounds about right.
But I feel like we talked like a little bit before, like it was Persalia related discussion, discourse. There was something else, and then it was the Ioun, and then it was in Tumblr's terrible, and I think now dead, private messaging chat function.
Is it dead?
It's not dead.
The group chat is dead. I know the group chat is dead.
Yeah, the group chat is dead.
But you can still absolutely use that messenger function. It's just like a pain, and the sound now causes anxiety in me.
Yeah, and it's very hard to scroll up to any conversation.
Yes.
And Discord is just subjectively better in any measure, except when my DM tells me, by the way, one of your tinfoil comments way back in the chat was 100% on the money, and now we're all staring at each other going, what random thing did she say that was right? That actually happened. Yeah, no, because I made an offhand comment about an item that we found that was like, I bet it totally, it has like a meta magic, it gives you meta magic with a drawback. And then the DM put in the chat that was like, that like thinking emoji that Discord has, and then we were all going, what? And then the session happened, and I was like 100% on the money. It gives points of meta magic with a drawback, and then they were like, oh, by the way, you've also done that once before. And I was going, what did I say?
So can we put you on Tiberius watch duty with the meta magic points?
Yes, this is partially why we brought you on, Christine, to talk about the nitty-gritty details of D&D.
Yes, I'm here because I like mind flayers, and I don't know what that says about me.
It says only good things.
She likes mind flayers and she likes us, so don't draw your own conclusions.
What was I going to say? Oh, that's how you pin the comments when you have like a...
Yes.
DMs out there, this is something I'm pretty sure my DM has done before, but like, just get in there and just like pin a comment, and that's the most intimidating thing ever, because it means they're going to go back to that. And you don't know when, and you don't know how.
I think I need to search by thinking emoji, because that's what my DM does when it's something...
Can you search by emoji?
I don't know. Let's find out.
We'll
find out later.
I've recently discovered you can search by date, but other than that, I just like remember keywords. Like I do most of my world building at Bal in Discord, and then just search key terms when I need to find this again.
You also use me occasionally as like a link drop off, which I think is very fun. Sometimes I'll just be at work and I'll just get like 5 messages from Jana.
Sometimes transferring a link from the PC to your phone is just faster via messaging apps. So I need someone to drop them off too, and like, you're there. Feel honored.
Bal, she's here.
I don't think you can search by emoji, because
damn it.
I just put in the thinking emoji key, and cat stopped drinking my water.
Hi,
and
Percy.
It popped up a comment, like someone's comment, that had think but also had the thinking emoji in it, and it didn't highlight the thinking emoji, so it doesn't look like you can search by emoji.
Get on
so Discord people who are in charge of this, and of course listening to us right now, add the search for emoji function. It's what the people need.
We should also note that Christine's cat is named Percy, so when we say Percy, it could mean Percy Percy, or it could mean Percy Percy.
And the confusion is deliberate, because I named him after C.R. Percy.
Somewhat topical. I am wearing Whitestone joggers right now.
Oh, yay! Whitestone pajamas. How are they? Are they comfortable?
They are a little short, but that might just be because of me and my stubby but thick legs. But they are very comfortable and very warm. You could wear them at Whitestone, probably.
Probably. They're fuzzy and they're warm.
Yes. And blue. Nice blue.
And blue. Yes. I don't know why there are so many cats named Percy. It's just a very good cat name.
It's a very good cat name, and much like Critical Role Percy, Cat Percy looks very good in a cravat.
Yes, like your cat Percy looks very good in general. He's just like a really pretty boy.
He is extremely handsome. I have tried putting glasses on him, and he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it.
Also, just cats and Percy. My mom got like a pillow with a cat that does look a lot like your cat,
That's
Percy.
Creepy. I love it so much.
Immediately named Sir Percy without knowing about her Percy cat or our Percy.
He just has a Percy face.
We ran into a problem in the D&D game that I play that I already mentioned at least once in this podcast, but furthermore, we ran into the problem with a real life cat named Percy because, if I remember correctly, someone in someone in the group had a chicken named Percy after C.R. Percy, and then they had a cat named Percy, and then they named a D&D cat in their backstory Percy after the chicken Percy, and then we named another cat in D&D Percy after the original D&D cat named Percy, and then one of our players found a stray cat that looked exactly like the D&D cat, and she named him Percy.
That's just too many Percys, and I feel like we need one of these conspiracy boards.
Yeah.
Percyception!
Whoa!
Yeah. It's a really good name for cats.
I was ahead of my time. I am avant-garde.
You were ahead of your time.
Speaking of time, this episode also comes to you in like the deepest the time paradox is ever going to get.
Yes, because we're recording this after recording episode 4.
Yes, and we recorded episode 4 after recording episode 8.
But we recorded episode 7 before we recorded episode 4.
Yes, but we will also record episode 7 way after recording this.
Because don't worry about it.
It's all explained in episode 4, but just for, like, the record, because we like to date these things, date of recording is, December 19th, 2021, which, it's gonna be fun when this episode actually is published in, like, April or something.
Yeah.
But for us, this is our Christmas special.
Okay. This is gonna be a thing.
It's such a thing.
Would you like to say how, before we get into the episode, Christine, would you like to say how you got into Critical Role?
Yes.
Yes. So, I was a fan of Travis and Laura back when, like, Soul Eater and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood were being aired, like, ongoing, concurrently aired. And then, one day at work, several years ago, I went, man, I wonder what Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey are up to. So I looked them up on Tumblr, and then a whole bunch of gift sets for, I think at the time it would have been like episode 60 to 62-ish. I don't remember exactly what episodes were airing, and of course, when you look up things on Tumblr, you don't necessarily always get them concurrent as they were going on. But it was sometime in the Feywild arc. And then I went, it's voice actors doing a D&D thing. That looks interesting. So I started watching it, and I kind of binged it, like, straight through by doing basically nothing else in my free time besides watching the backlog.
Mood.
I skipped the Goblins. I skipped the Goblins episode, and to this day I haven't watched it.
Same.
Which episode?
Actually,
the
I
Goblins,
the
like,
Goblins episode.
Well, they're all goblins. I haven't watched that one.
I've never watched the what is it, the Vox whatever. The Vox Machina. I never watched that one.
I haven't watched that either. I haven't watched any of the battle royales that took place before I caught up. And then my first live episode in the, unironically, sometimes I make good choices, was episode 69 of Campaign 1.
Huh.
Yay! That's a good episode. That is arguably...
It sure is.
I'm not going to argue with any of y'all about this. I'm just going to assume you agree with me. That episode 69 is the best episode of Critical Role to date.
Yeah.
Might be. Very well might be.
It's definitely up there.
It's definitely up there. It's one of the best. It's one of just, like, the most cohesive. You can just watch this at any point in time and just get it.
Yeah. It has the kind of range of emotional whiplash that any given episode can have.
It's also just so emotionally sincere. Like, all of the grief, all of the emotions on display are just so viscerally real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made Sam Riegel cry and has that happened since?
I think it's happened one other time, but I don't remember why.
One other time. Yes.
It might have had something to do with... I just completely blanked on what Beth's husband's name was. Oops.
Someone, something, Campaign 2.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I think it's one of...
Yeah,
but we're not here to talk about episode 69 of Critical Role.
We'll get there eventually.
No, that would be far too much fun.
Tell me when you're getting there.
You're putting dibs.
Just put this in your calendar in, like, 5 years from now or something.
Yeah.
We just need, like, a rotating cast of, like, 10 people who we could just, like... Instead of summarizing the episode, we just get, like, a person to narrate their feelings about one part of the episode, and then we sequentially order them.
If we scratch our fandom friends together, we might manage. I mean, we already have, like, soft book 2 guests for later episodes, but spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. So we are here to talk about episode 9 of Critical Role Campaign 1. And before we begin...
aired on May 7th, 2015.
Thank you very much. Because I always forget to look those up.
I always do and forget to mention.
And before we begin, we shall go over, as is customary, the content warnings and spoiler warnings of this episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the content and spoiler warnings. I am coming to you from the far-off future of nearly June 2022. This was all recorded in late 21, so the future. So just to go over some of the content warnings for this episode, there's quite a bit of sexual harassment. It's been a problem in the last couple episodes, and it continues to be a problem. There's also some pretty intense body horror. Be aware of that. Not too much gore. Just the usual stuff. Also, I wanted to note that in this podcast episode, we actually talk a little bit about some kind of not necessarily positive takes on sex work as depicted in tropes from the 1800s. We talk a little bit about sort of like the woodcuts of, women who are fallen and were ravished by a rake and fall to that. And of course, I want to make sure that in talking about that, we might come off like we view sex work as a negative thing. That cannot be further from the truth. Just wanted to make sure that we are discussing the tropes, not our opinions. And I apologize if it comes across as blunt or inconsiderate. That is not our intention, but I apologize nevertheless. As for spoiler warnings... Oh, by the way, we also talk a little bit about Illithid-specific body horror. I just said body horror, but we talk a lot about worms and tentacles and various things of that nature. As for the spoiler warnings now, we talk a little bit about Campaign 2 spoilers, specifically Nott and her sort of story. We spoil the Star Wars prequels and make a slight mention to Dragon Age Inquisition, but not in any particular detail. and we technically spoiled the Order of the Stick webcomic, so apologies for that. Regardless, thank you all for listening to the content warnings, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Bye! Out of Game Tidbits.
Out of Game Tidbits, yes. So,
No Ashley. Sad face.
No Ashley, yes. Ashley isn't here. They still do the really grating thing of just playing 10 minutes of character intros in the beginning and during the break.
And their
So many
images
character
are
intros.
blurred out.
Yeah, like, I think in one past episode that we will have to re-record, maybe, you actually can see the images for Ashley's, for Pike's intro, and it's just random images taken from, like, official Wizards of the Coast materials and other art stuff that is, I understand why they had to blur that after the whole monetization stuff, so yeah, but also it's very eclectically edited and not very good, so we're not really missing much.
It's also
a
little just given that in later campaigns they don't tell each other anything unless their backstories, unless they're two people that come into the campaign together. And then now it's just like, here it all is, like, we're finding out Percy's backstory before any of the characters actually know about it, except Percy himself.
Yeah, it's also...
There's
it's also
a high
assumed...
chance there's a high chance that players don't really know what's in each other's intro videos anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not sure they watched them. I will say that I almost would have warned people not to watch all of them, because I feel like if you watched every single, like, instance of them playing the character intros for 10 minutes with, like, these weird, censored, blurred out visions, you'll just, like, hypnotize yourself into, like, becoming a super soldier.
If you see the images, you're going to get motion sickness because they are very eclectically edited. Do not recommend.
Yeah. Do not recommend it. If you just stare at the blurred out weird things while
and it's
listening to voice actors talk about fictional characters to you, you'll eventually, like,
Clockwork
hear
Orange.
the word, like...
Yeah,
you'll hear the word ale in, like, a farmer's market, and you'll snap someone's neck.
Assassin School, Witches for Assassins!
Which is weirdly something I think
you
doesn't actually come up in Kith and Kin, although I haven't read it, so I can't get... But
I haven't read it either.
But based on what I have heard from the tag, I don't think it's in Kith and Kin, so apparently that was just birthed and then consumed by Matthew Colville's brain.
That was reread
like an
amazing. If you are very interested in hearing all of our thoughts on why Assassin School Witches for Assassins is a word that can throw Bal into a murderous rage, apparently, feel free to check out our bonus episode where we go all over Vex's characterization in the comics on Patreon for any and all patrons. What-to-do? We even have 2 of those at time of recording. Who knows whether we manage to keep them. Okay, enough plugging for now.
There's also, speaking of plugging, there's some kind of skit at the beginning?
before they show you the character intros you have seen 18 times by now, they start some sort of song. Like, some people in Marvel cosplay go to, like, a comic book store and start singing about Joss Whedon.
That aged well.
I don't really know what they're advertising here.
Aged phenomenally, and just this is, and if you know how the Geek and Sundriettes, and especially the songs in Geek and Sundriettes are gonna go in the future, it's just, oh boy.
It's not International Tabletop Day.
Fight or flight response.
Let's be nice. It's not International Tabletop.
We already had that. We already had that
like
one.
What is the first creature that walked on land? Like the tentacl-y?
Huh?
I'll come back to that.
It's like the
Proto-gator.
It's the proto-gator of, like, an International Tabletop Day. It's like the first weird little creature that crawled onto land that will eventually become International Tabletop Day.
I think Will Wheaton actually talked to us about International Tabletop Day in a past episode, but very briefly and without yelling a song that does at twice the volume of the broadcast. So, you know.
It's tentacl-y, by the way.
Ah! Good to know. Yeah, okay, so
I
that
was going to
happened.
say
It was-
Dimetrodon, and I knew that wasn't right, so that's why I said I'll get back to that. Dimetrodon is like our early mammal ancestor, even though it looks like a lizard.
Yeah! It looks like a lizard, but it's one of us. It's a synapsis.
Yes, it has mammalian skull shape, even though it looks like a lizard.
Yay!
Paleontology with critical rollback.
Yay!
It's important. It's
Also
important to
for the
get that in
record-
because dinosaurs keep showing up in D&D.
Oh
yeah,
god.
and things that aren't dinosaurs, like marine reptiles and pterodactyls, neither of which are dinosaurs.
No, but I almost thought about turning into one in one of our sessions, but then I realized I don't have a fly
Ooh.
speed.
Damn it!
Well, you know what I just realized?
What?
Remember all those jokes we made about local geologists being angry about lava in this show?
Yeah. Well, we found one.
All of them are lost, but here's a local geologist, one of
I
two.
should be dead. Do.
He should be. Every
He
one of
should
them should
not
be
be
dead.
walking!
All of them should be dead from inhaling so many fumes.
But especially Vax,
But they
who
should not
literally
be
took a
walking.
lava
But
dip.
especially this.
Yes.
Just a little lava bath. You
Yes.
said here that.
Laura is wearing a Harry Potter shirt, which we do not support in this
do
day and
not.
age. 2015 was 2015 was even before the first Fantastic Beasts movie, right?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was 2016.
I watched that with my improv
Hang on,
class.
let's look that up. First Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, 2016, I think. I was there with my improv class, which I took
Yep,
after
2016.
watching Critical Role. Yep.
Yeah.
So not even that. Was the Cursed Child even out?
That may have been. And
Barely. But I wrote articles on Fundamentals about that also.
2016, July 31st, 2016
even.
is when Cursed Child came out.
Okay.
Also, I
so
bought a copy
this
of
is
that.
literally before
I
everything.
haven't read it. It's been sitting at the bottom of a box for 5 years.
Where it belongs.
As it will stay. As it will eventually be found by archaeologists years and years
like
in
that,
the future.
like that
And they will
ET
question
game
your
that almost
taste.
crashed the video game industry.
Yeah, we're just gonna find a pit full of the Cursed Child books in Nevada.
Yeah. So Laura's wearing a Harry Potter shirt. Travis is wearing glasses for parts of the episode, which we don't see him do often.
Yeah, I always wonder if he got LASIK, but it's not for me to speculate on.
Also,
Yeah, Ashley is gone again. Yes,
is he
what?
beardless, Travis? Is this beardless Travis? I didn't register it, but now I feel like I should have checked.
I think it's stubble, Travis.
No,
Yeah, I think he's stubbly.
okay.
I don't think
He's not
naked,
like
Travis.
baby face Travis, but he's not
Which
like
happens.
yeah.
It's very upsetting. We'll let you know when it happens because it's
Baby
terrifying.
face Travis is a journey.
He looks about
Yeah, he
20
looks like
years
a-
younger.
Yeah, he looks like a big teenager. Looks
He
a very
looks
big
not old enough to be
teenager.
working at this hour or to be married, but yeah, we'll get there.
No, he looks old enough to be married, but like in a
By
in-
US
in
law,
a-
yes.
Yeah,
Ouch.
he looks in an upsetting way
Sure.
married.
Okay, so also since this is 2015 and we also get like a tidbit where they all talk about what characters they voiced, and Marisha and Laura have both played Black Widow in a video game. W's and V's are my nightmare, by the way, in English.
You
Yeah.
could just say Natasha if
It's
it's
just
easier.
like this.
Black Widow.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, that's more Russian, actually.
I was about to
It's
make
bad.
a point about how completely ridiculously devoid of female characters the whole MCU was at that
That's
point.
still true.
Yeah,
And
it's also
still
worth
kind of
mentioning-
is.
It's also worth mentioning that at this point, Marisha has played both Black Widow and was it Stephanie Brown?
She played Stephanie Brown?
In like a web series, right? This is
Yeah,
you're
she
talking
played
about
like
Batgirl, right?
she definitely played a Batgirl. I know that.
Marisha
much.
Ray.
She played a Batgirl in like an online series, but in one
So
of
she's-
those.
There's not a lot
kind of
female
like-
Is she?
Game
But
of
it must be because
Thrones.
it's called Spoiled. Yeah, she's Stephanie
yeah,
Brown.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
I just looked it up. She's Stephanie Brown.
So she's
Cool.
done both MCU and DC.
I think most
Not
of them
you.
have, in one way or the other.
Yeah. But yes, there's not a lot to choose from,
It was-
huh? And you know what? Still to this day, not that much to choose from.
5.8 stars out of
Slightly
10 on
more.
IMDb. I love you, Marisha.
We love you, Marisha.
We love you,
I'm
Marisha.
I'm sure you did a great job. Fuck
Yes.
those guys.
We say this now, and then we have this big Keyleth scene later that I'm going to tear apart. But hey, we do
Glad
love
that you
Marisha.
said it first, because I was like,
Mhm.
huh? We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get to it. This is why
All
we
right.
have the Purvan Scale.
So, that too. So,
Oh, also, they launched the first T-shirt,
I like
right?
that
Or like
t-shirt. I'm
Yeah,
fond
the-
of that t-shirt.
the first t-shirt for the third time.
the
Second time.
It's the shirt that has since not like it's the first
With their-
one, never
with
renewed
their names
shirt.
on it.
It's the only shirt that that references Orion's existence on this show.
Yes.
Not available today.
Unavailable today. Probably worth a lot of
Although
money.
sometimes, very
Probably.
occasionally, I think Matt had worn it in campaign 2.
Really?
I don't remember exactly.
I only
Maybe it's-
remember one of them wore it for episode 100 when they were all wearing, where every cast member was wearing a shirt that they had put out, but they didn't have enough shirts yet, so one had to wear this one.
No, I just...
Imagine how funny if it would be if he only wore it in the episodes where he sat down, so only half of him would be visible behind the table, so that Orion would get cut off.
Imagine if people started censoring Orion's name on that shirt in future episodes too, like they do with his presence at the table.
Just put like a black bar over it that floats with them.
Just put Robbie's name on it. No, Robbie had not been part of the, part of the
Yeah.
show. For
Yeah,
another 6
okay,
years,
yep.
his name is on that shirt.
Don't worry about it. It's a time paradox.
Alright,
Are
okay,
you
so...
Ready to start with the episode?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes,
So what happened? What happened last time?
Well, they ran away from lava.
Vax got his toe melted off.
Yes.
He shouldn't have a foot.
Like, actually was like most of a foot, but Greater Restoration fixed most of that, and now he has like a nubby little toe.
Solutions when you don't
They
have...
do have a Kima, but they don't a Grog.
As it's when you don't have what's the spell? I just blanked on the name of the spell. When you can like grow back a limb.
Oh yeah, the one that was
Yeah, there we go, regeneration.
They literally cast that
He
on
doesn't
him,
have.
yes.
They don't have that yet. It's a 7th level spell. They use restoration.
They don't? What did
The
they
thing
cast
that
on
grew,
him
the
then
thing
last
that grew back
episode?
Percy's arm was a 7th level spell.
Ugh, that's
But
so
they-
weird to me.
Okay, but what did they cast last episode? They like did some big magic thing. What did it? Was it just a big
I
healing
thought it was
spell?
a high level
You
cure
have to
wounds.
Just
understand, we
straight
recorded
restoration,
episode
though.
8 like weeks
I
ago.
thought it was a high level cure wounds, but I could be wrong.
Maybe even high. It wasn't
Might be.
regeneration, but it was something. It was a ritual casting of something.
But also, just
and
for
they
the record,
also-
Christine, it doesn't matter. The rules
Oh,
are
trust
like,
me,
it's
I
wild.
have-
It's the wild
I
west
have
out of here.
noticed that. I have some
There's-
comments about the way that Matt ran banishment.
Yeah, that too. That too. We had debates about how exactly does spell conservation work, and we're not even trying to keep track of sorcery points because everyone knows that's in vain.
Yes. This is also after they've killed the Dorgar King and
Yes.
the Queen right away, and they had to track. Well, that she took Grog and she bamfed out.
Yes.
And,
We will have wondered, and will wonder again, by the way, if that was rule conform, because I don't remember
It's
her
not.
enlarging. Like, she uses
It's
Dimension
not.
Door, but we don't hear her enlarging. If she enlarges as a Dorgar, she would be Grog-sized category and could take him, but I don't remember her doing that.
No, but they can
Nope.
do that. And I was about to say, I was going to comment that I'm very sad that despite of that being a thing, that it doesn't look like any of the Dwargar used it, because that's cool. They can make themselves big.
she could have enlarged.
Some
Ah,
do
damn
that,
it.
but no, some did that in the big Dorgar throne
Oh,
room
they did,
fight,
okay.
which, oh god, we have to re-record.
But I don't
Oh.
believe the Queen did.
Yep.
They have since tracked. So, the end of the last episode, they tracked the Queen and Grog into the sort of like torture situation. They appear
Yeah,
to be
Grog is just like
experimenting
on a
them.
portable torture rack or something.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where we finished off last episode with the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
of how
Vax
they will get
stealthed-
Grog back.
Vax stealth the head super special awesome stealthy on his half melted foot, which, like, if anything, he should just be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
What kind of painkillers do they have here? Like, seriously.
Maybe Grog just doesn't feel pain.
No, it's Vax.
Oh, Vax!
It's Vax, and Vax definitely feels pain.
Vax
Vax is a little baby.
Vax is stealthing on a melted foot.
He's
Just
just
a little disadvantage.
walking on bone is what he's doing.
Yeah, with like last episode, he had disadvantage on his stealth check that he could, but he could negate that with one of his cloaks.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Have you ever been kicked right in the shin where there's like very, very little skin over the
Yeah,
the
he should
bone?
be walking like that all the time. But
yeah, he should be.
to be fair, Vax also once lifted Vex with his legs shortly after having been brought back to the dead, and he should be getting a -4 on anything. So
yeah, physically impossible.
So I guess spoilers for all of Campaign
like,
1, because I've just spat them all out at this point.
It's fine.
We don't do
spoil
spoilers for Campaign 1. You should just expect them, as all dear listeners know, because they've listened to Session 0. And if they haven't, do so.
That's if you haven't listened to Episode 0 at this point, that's on you.
I put a card in every single episode.
But yes, we just regard all of Campaign 1 because it's a retrospective. We're discussing it as a thing.
We're analyzing it as it comes.
So I think Liam doesn't always remember things like that. And it's fine. I don't always remember things like that either. But I definitely remember that particular instance, and it was like, dude, shouldn't you be like not being able to do anything because you have a -4 to all checks?
Yeah, you should be lying on a
And it's
gurney.
not like Vax is particularly swole to begin with.
Yeah, like
No.
I can see him throwing knives very well still. If someone is holding him up.
Something you forgot to mention in the Out of Game Tidbits. You know what they started doing this episode?
What?
They started showing the character stats.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Oh. I didn't notice that.
Also, speaking of out-of-game comedy, them talking about all of their, hey, I hope we can get to 2750 when the Critical Role Twitch stream just within the last couple of days hit 1 million is pretty great.
It's pretty great.
Oh god, where we at that? At the very end, like, the Overlord comes in and is like, we're doing this to try and prove to our superiors that Twitch is like a valid source of revenue.
After the Twitch leaks, yeah.
Yeah, and since then, we've had the Twitch leaks discovering that Critical Role, not Geek and Sundry, which they're on for this episode we're reviewing right now, but Critical Role is like the top earner on Twitch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
At this point, Critical Role is still attached through like an umbilical cord to Geek and Sundry.
Will continue to be so through the entirety of Campaign 1.
And like,
so gradually
20-ish episodes of Campaign 2.
Like, very much towards the end of Campaign 1, you can see the relationship switch where it stops being Critical Role is dependent on Geek and Sundry and more Geek and Sundry is dependent on Critical Role.
It still exists, doesn't it?
Yep.
Geek and Sundry? I occasionally get emails.
It's hobbling along.
Yeah, like, it still gets revenue from these episodes because I watched Critical Role for this podcast on my TV, and they run ads on these episodes every 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, they do a ton of ads. Because I was wandering around the Frostback Basin just to have something to do with my hands while I was watching this, and had to lift a hand up, just collecting side quests. I had to, and shards and things. If you've played Dragon Age, you know what I'm talking about. And I had to like go another.
Don't spoil Dragon Age.
Another one. Skip. And they never seem to line up.
Yeah, YouTube does this. They don't. It's just every 15 minutes on the second.
I didn't notice that consistency, but
so,
now that you've said it, that does make sense.
I did. Been annoyed by this for a few episodes now, and it's just very consistent. And YouTube has started running ads that are like religious leaders talking to you for 30 minutes.
Really? I think I got a couple of Grammarly ads.
Speaking of crucifixion.
Grog is just in the back being tortured or something.
Yeah, Taliesin is so excited about his plan that will not happen.
I mean, it kind of happens, it just also kind of doesn't.
The Keyleth half of Percy's plan kind of happens, but
the skin also distracts them, briefly.
Honestly, the thing that doesn't happen is gotta make sure Tiberius is the main character. I had forgotten.
Yeah, Vax does something, and Orion is like, the plot can't commence without my involvement.
Yeah, we try very hard not to talk about it, but he makes it very difficult.
I had
'Cause he just has
forgotten
to
or
be
repressed
around.
this, and then I'm watching this and I'm going, oh, and now you know why I had to wander around the Frostback Basin so I could have something to do with my hands. Because otherwise I would be pausing the video, walking around for 20 minutes, and then coming back to it.
Very good of you to find some other thing to do.
We had this giant-ass disclaimer about how we are not going to talk about him, but he's so much, you guys. He's so much.
This one, I think, I mean, I don't want to say it was particularly egregious because I did not watch the episodes prior to this. I just went, I remember how this...
It's not as bad as the time you turned into a god.
Oh, that's right. That is the thing that happened.
Yeah, that was the worst so far, but this
we have to re-record this and it's not good.
You don't actually have to watch it again. You've already watched it. You're good. Just talk about it. But yes, anyway, there's a lot of but look at me from Orion this episode.
So much.
Yeah. So, also, I think in this case, he's actually the one who rolls low on stealth, so they get discovered before they can do the plan that Taliesin was really excited about.
If I remember correctly, though, Dex and Percy both also rolled kind of low, so they probably would have been caught anyway, but he was definitely the one who...
They weren't there yet, though. They weren't there yet. It was just like, Tiberius just followed Vax while the others were planning, and that's when it was up.
Anyway, so, we got our first Earth Elemental.
First Earth Elemental!
Yeah. Whoa!
Yay!
So Keyleth,
she can't talk like
that
this.
That was fun, though.
It was very
I can't remember if this was later on discovered that she can talk like this. And they just have done this.
Primordial.
Yeah,
so
she speaks.
She just needs to find someone who speaks primordial.
So any given Earth Genasi.
She could talk to Ashton.
Because I think they speak Terran, which is the, like, Earth.
Yeah, like, primordial has, like, the 4 different branches of like, elemental dialects or whatever.
So
Terran.
So I think they speak Terran. Let me look. Which does beg the question of... Because it just says... For Genasi, it just says they speak primordial. And...
Isn't it just so great to be born with the inherent skills to speak the language of your race or something?
So
yes,
nice.
they speak Terran. Thank you, Mighty Beyond.
I've gotten asked this week if I speak Yiddish, and I've had to very sadly say no.
This week?
I understand Yiddish sometimes.
It's very close to German.
It is. I think I understand it more than I understand Dutch, but it's kind of close.
The German teacher also agreed that Dutch sounds like drunk German, by the way. I asked her about it.
I think it sounds like baby talk German.
Well, now it feels like we're shit-talking someone.
Yeah, someone.
Someone.
Someone who might feature at some point. Okay. So what happens after that? I'm trying to decipher your notes here. They managed to get the queen out somehow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Scanlan wants to talk.
Well, he wants to insult.
He does. It's actually like a fairly... I would say that Scanlan is, at least for the first half of the episode,
for this part,
tolerable.
Yeah, and what I've quoted here is the queen, who, by the way, can we agree that this queen is like the prototype for the female villainesses later on?
Oh yeah. She's
Yeah, she has most of the things ready to go for Delilah and Ripley and Raisha.
Except the fact that she ditched her husband.
She seems kind of upset about that in this episode.
But apparently she likes beef because she thinks Grog and her husband are equal.
She does like beef.
She implies that her taking Grog from Scanlan and or the party is the same as Scanlan taking her husband from her, which is lots of assumptions, but also yay for Polymachina.
Yeah, she's suggesting that Grog Strongjaw, the party's husband.
I mean, to be fair, he has done the distressed damsel routine, twice by this point? And because I remember he got intellect devoured.
Yeah, he did.
So this is not the last time this will happen.
He also got abducted and then phylacteried in the pre-stream area.
Yes, like very recently.
This is a lesson to all you barbarians.
invest in at least one mental stat.
This is also... also, just... while they also have the character stats up, they also have, like, an ad running for the t-shirt with the hashtag Save Grog.
God.
And
Which,
to
like,
be
oh
fair, Grog
boy.
does also continue his damsel in distress routine for the entirety of the campaign, because he gets axed by...
Yeah, down to the...
He falls in
The
with the
last
corrupting influence
10
of a
minutes
bad guy.
of campaign 1.
That's where the
You could've
hashtag
just
Save Grog came from. They got an entire one-shot out of it. Two-shot. Two of them.
You could have had this shirt going for the entire campaign. It would have been relevant.
Yes! Yeah! Also, just Craven Edge as a metaphor for girls falling in with bad men and ending up in sex work. Keep that in mind for in a few years when we get to those episodes, but that just occurred to me and I like it so much better than any other metaphor.
What's the metaphor? I missed the first part of what you said.
Craven Edge is like a metaphor for innocent little girls falling in with bad men,
I thought you
which
said
eventually leads to
Christmas
sex
and
work.
got really confused.
Oh. Yeah. I guess
Also
it is
worth
kind
an
of like
argument.
very... It does feel very like old-fashioned, you know, like 1800s woodcut of like young innocent girl gets taken by a rake.
I feel like this works better than the crystal meth metaphor that Liam tries to turn it into.
So
And now I
Jana,
have
are
to
you
warn for
saying that Craven Edge is George Wickham?
Yes!
He is George Wickham.
Yes! Yes! Spoilers for Pride and Prejudice?
You do not spoil warning a 250-year-old novel, I'm sorry.
I mean, if we were going to spoil... If any podcast was going to spoil warning a 200-year-old book, it would be us.
Anyway, did you know that Wickham is a bad guy?
Seems debatable. Seems like
seems-
somebody has
Really?
to discuss this on a YouTube channel.
I don't know, I've read like a fourth of Pride and Prejudice, and he seems like a really cool dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so we
So-
have like things to talk about.
small and
Yes.
annoying creature.
Pretty accurate assessment.
Is what she
Pretty
calls
accurate
Scanlan,
assessment.
which is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Queen.
Scanlan basically agrees to negotiate, but like, not really.
I mean, the plan is to be a distraction here, and he, well, tries.
He distracts.
He distracts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He says the oft-quoted line, "I would make promises, but I don't make promises to dogs," which I always kind of found to be kind of cumbersome,
Yeah.
actually.
At least he didn't say bitches.
Yeah.
That's true.
Small mercies.
I mean, for early campaign one-liners, it isn't bad.
It isn't bad. It's no Percy one-liner, but it's not bad.
Okay. Yeah, Trinket is in mortal peril for a hot second because of Mind Flayer just materializes and then
Hang
does
on,
a
let me
weird
check.
thing.
I'm here for Mind
don't
Flayer
know.
stats. Why is it invisible? Why is it invisible? They don't have that. Do they ever get it?
Maybe it's like you can do this thing where you turn a creature into a spellcaster.
Oh, hang on. Mind Flayer Arcanist gets invisibility, which I think is Clarota, and no, the Scion doesn't. So I don't know why it's invisible. Whatever, it just appeared out of nowhere. They do get plane shift once per day, but I think he tried to use that to escape.
Oh, so they could have unbanished the queen.
Yeah, they can only cast it on themselves.
Plane shift is like that because it doesn't do any damage. A lot of extraplanar monsters get it where they can only cast it on themselves, so it's not like the permanent banishment piece to it. They get it once per day, and they basically use it to like bamf out. Like imps get plane shift once per day because they can use it to bamf back to hell to get out of dodge.
Yeah. It's basically like...
Oh, is that what
You
he tried
know-
to do later on and then gets
Yeah,
cancelled?
I'm pretty sure he was getting he was trying to plane shift out to avoid getting killed, and then got counterspelled for it.
Counterspelled. I thought
It's
it was
like
Dimension
the-
Door, but I mean,
The
essentially it
squid
was.
inkjet,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, okay, so Trinket takes a lot of damage and Matt makes his sad bear noises and describes how he tries to bury through the ground to escape the pain, and it's like, what? No, Matt, why?
Matt! I've also wondered what... Can a mind flayer eat, like,
so I
bear
can
thing?
answer that question.
Yay!
So yes, because
Yes.
remember I am here for mind flayer lore. So technically speaking, they eat the brains not because they want the other white meat. They eat the brains because it has like this psychic energy of just living is what they consume. They consume psychic energy essentially. So very rare, like, so most of the time animals don't qualify because they're animals. Very rarely certain, like, particularly intelligent examples of animals do have enough, like, residual psychic energy to be eaten, and I feel like, on the offhand, a ranger's animal companion probably would qualify as one of those. So congratulations, Trinket, you can be food.
Oh!
Trinket can be used to feed Clarota. Good to know.
I don't
That is
think
fascinating.
Trinket's statistically any smarter than the average bear, but I feel like, yeah,
more
I
sapient
think
than
being
the
a
average
ranger's animal companion probably would give him that level of, yeah.
It should.
I mean, there's definitely, like, a psychic connection there, because, like, Vex can basically command him
Yeah,
wordlessly. for the
so
most
I feel
part.
like he probably could, he wouldn't be like of the sliding scale of who you'd want to eat, like, he'd probably be at the back end of Vox Machina, but he does.
I'd take him before Grog. I'm sorry, Grog.
Does he have a higher intelligence stat than Grog is the question.
For some reason, I
don't
remember
think
reading
so.
that coming up, and it was
But he doesn't have higher
it
impulse
was
control.
lower than, I think he's higher wisdom. It was lower than Grog's, but not like by a crazy amount.
He's more worldly than Grog. Trinket's been around the block, you know? He's got street
He's
smarts.
a bear, 5e bear. That's his bear stats. Yes, he's a little.
According to the Honey Heist.
Wisdom 13.
According to Honey Heist, he knows how to lockpick.
That's true.
Maybe he learned that when Vex took the rogue stuff.
Yeah.
Through, like, a mental link.
Practicing with Trinket, like, alright, use your claws like a lockpick, and you put it in and you fiddle around. Yeah, it's cute. I like that, but
Now I have to remember I remember the fan fiction, which, like, you know, the one where, like, Trinket talks to Percy about Vex and then to Vex about Percy.
Percy asks for permission.
yeah, Curry's fic.
Yes.
And then tells her that Percy is a bad pick to have cubs with because his cubs are going to be scrawny and sickly and she should have chosen Grog instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good fan
Anyway.
fiction.
They get donuts.
They don't eat anymore on stream.
They don't
do
eat,
that.
and they don't get food from the chat anymore.
I'm glad that they don't get food from the chat anymore. I'm sad that they don't eat anymore, because I'm just like, feed the cast.
I mean,
Feed
these
them.
days, with it being
working.
pre-recorded, for all we know, they do it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then by the time they finish, they just go eat dinner.
Yes. But
They just have an actual snack break.
7 hours.
Oh, God.
Drink.
But they
eat,
do-
go
they
to the
do
bathroom.
drink.
Run a
They do
lap.
drink. They do drink. I'm just, the 7-hour episodes, the 6 to 7 hour episodes, I'm always just like, they need snacks, their blood sugar.
Well, yeah, you can
This is
definitely
too
tell
long
the
without
blood sugar
eating.
was taking a nosedive in the Kraken episode.
Oh yeah.
Everything took a
So was
nosedive in the
my
Kraken
blood
episode.
sugar, by the way. But I did cuddle a stuffed whale shark for the entire episode.
Oh,
Were we talking during that episode?
what is a
No.
whale?
Okay.
That was good. That was really good.
Oh.
That was like the high point of the episode, and then
Matt
everything went to
is-
shit after that.
Matt is too good at voicing a suffering Trinket. It's
Okay, so at this point they start arguing about where it is appropriate to throw a fireball, which is...
No, not really. Other way around.
What?
Sorry. Like, no, Tiberius throws a fireball at, like, a juicy spot. Matt is like, okay, you hit this person, and Grog. And then Tiberius is like, no, I wouldn't have thrown it there if I knew Grog was there. And, like...
And then he was like, just kidding, and then they all sitcom laugh.
Oh, he did take
I also
it.
feel like we should
Just
mention
fine.
the dwarf and the elf that were implied / I think one of them at least was confirmed to be Kima's companions. That Tiberius just blew the crap out of without thinking about.
Yeah, though admittedly they check after and they have been like long.
No,
dead.
that was later. That was like in the fight with the queen. She had two people with her. She had an elf and a dwarf, like a regular dwarf, not a dwergar, and that they also got fireballed. And then when he threw the ice knife, the like shatter effect of the ice knife took them out. So
he hit them with fire and then ice, which is I'm pretty sure how. This is how ceramics explode. So, but put that down under two
or at least two of Kima's friends.
They're not really civilians, and I think they were also like thralls at this point. Like Matt, after the fact, makes it very clear that these two are beyond saving, but not even thinking about it is a little.
They didn't check that.
Yeah, and maybe the others would have checked, but they definitely got fireballed right at the beginning of combat. So.
I mean, we start the campaign by Tiberius throwing a fireball into a mineshaft, killing fleeing creatures and also workers. So
he's not great with collateral.
Can't say it's out of character.
No.
I also have some issue with the concept of throwing a fireball because it's not. It doesn't arc. You choose a place and it detonates.
That's true.
I know that this is the terminology, but I feel like we should be changing the way that we talk about
directing a fireball doesn't sound as good. Doesn't sound as snappy.
You're right.
There we go, detonating. But detonating is like a big person term, and if you don't know what detonate mean.
You're not old enough to watch this show, presumably.
He's a sorcerer. He should know.
I don't know, you can get away with pretty dumb as a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make relatively short work of most of the people there, and then Scanlan eventually banishes the queen.
And Matt does not do banishment right. She should not have been able to resave. Blah blah blah.
She would have just been
does
gone
it work?
For a minute?
Yeah, it's gone for work, and it basically you failed to save initially, like she did, and then you are
because she allegedly has no charisma. Which, like, Matt, how does this queen have no charisma? You're not playing her right.
Yeah. Dwergar have -1 to charisma, so that like. Is that because I'm pretty sure he was just pulling stat blocks. She has
that makes sense.
And then so once you fail to save on banishment, because she's a denizen of the prime material plane, she would have been tucked away into a nice little pocket dimension until either a minute passed and Scanlan lost concentration automatically, or until somebody broke Scanlan's concentration, and in which case she would have come back to where she was. What she kind of talks about, she could come back any minute. But Matt let her reroll the save on every turn. And I don't know.
Which is not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Now, it does work that way for the Mind Flayer, like, Mind Blast thing. I checked because I was like, is that right? But yeah, for the Mind Blast thing, you do remain stunned until you make your save.
Oh.
Which maybe that's why he kept doing it, because one worked one way and one worked the other, and concentration is not a thing in Pathfinder 1st Edition.
It's also not a thing in how they play.
That's also true. I didn't notice anything particularly egregious in this one, but
not in this episode.
It takes them a while to figure out how concentration works, which is really funny, given that they pick up an item, gives you 2 concentration spells ongoing. It's like, wow, this item is completely redundant, because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah. Normally, this item would be super, super handy, but...
I mean, it is super, super handy, but I think Tiberius is going to use it once, and it's going to fail spectacularly, because it says 2 rounds, and 2 rounds are not enough to fly y'all invisibly across something or whatever.
Boy, he was like, this is all mine! Oh. It's mine! You guys can have it later, it's mine!
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there, to all of these things.
Sorry.
For now, I want to shout out to the cast for being like, does this Mind Flayer know Clarota? Oh, he dates his ex-girlfriend, which, like, I feel that.
Yeah.
Making up backstories for this random Mind Flayer. This is nice.
It's so nice. Part of me truly wishes for, like, a genuine, like, I mean, we've spoiled this at this point, but, like, a genuine... friendly.
I will go on to the Clarota defense squad, but we'll get there.
I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, he made no promise.
But there's also a second piece to the Clarota defense squad that when you when I do my Mind Flayer lore dump time, we will get into. Just saying. Okay. There's some, like, specific...
Okay.
Do you want to do it now?
Just...
Okay, so there's...
Go for it.
So there's specific phrasing to the way, like, as a sorcerer, he would have been rejected by the Elder Brain, which he talks about, and then he gets excluded from the colony, and then they develop individual personalities to this extent that they do when they are separated from the Elder Brain. And then they lose that individuality when they reconnect with the Elder Brain, which is exactly what happened when Clarota turned on them. So Clarota got Elder Brained, and then he turned on them.
Something he was actively working for and looking forward to. Hence why he made no promises.
So, but eventually they're like, Clarota turned on them. They know he didn't. Clarota accomplished exactly what he wanted to.
Clarota ceased to be a person on purpose.
Yeah. There's no... It's more so that, like, Clarota did want to go back to the Elder Brain and probably knew that this was going to happen. But also, like, when he betrayed them, there's effectively no Clarota left. Like, there's no individual Clarota anymore when he betrays them. Like, it's not that he betrayed them, it's that the Elder Brain acting through the vessel that used to be Clarota.
It's the logical consequence of getting him to rejoin the hive mind, which is something like... If you know how hive minds work, is glaringly obvious in all stages of negotiation here. And you can just tell that Kima is there, like, trying not to yell this at them the entire time. Which,
Yeah, Kima's trying her best. Also, Clarota's now very... I have some thoughts regarding, like... Because I like Clarota as the thing. I'm not here to defend his actions, because I do think that there are some things that he does that are pretty incriminating, especially in this episode, where he kind of tries to subtly turn the party against Kima.
Not even that subtly.
She's being
subtly? Really?
Not that subtly, but, you know, he's, like, pushing and egging them on to turn against Kima, which to me says that, like, he's conscious of Kima being the one who...
understands things.
Well, it's also that one of the other... And Matt plays most creatures pretty close to the Forgotten Realms write-ups of them. The Mind Flayers don't think of anything that isn't a Mind Flayer as being, like, they're all sub-Mind Flayer, right? So they can be respectful, which I'd argue that Clarota is respectful to the party, but they don't think of them as equals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. He thinks of them as particularly smart sheep.
Yeah, smart sheep to an extent, because they still haven't grasped this whole... He can't really guarantee safe passage once he's part of the hive mind again, can he?
No, and also they're all emergency rations.
Including...
Even Trinket, as we learned today.
Also, what he doesn't mention is how you make more Mind Flayers, because if you want people to help you, you don't talk about how you make more Mind Flayers.
It's a worm situation, isn't it?
Yes, so it is called Ceramorphosis. If anyone who has played/watched Let's Plays of the early access of Baldur's Gate 3 would know, Ceramorphosis is so basically once or twice during their lifespan, Mind Flayers will lay a bunch of eggs that hatch into tadpoles that are then placed into the brine pool of an Elder Brain. And then they live there for like 10 years, eating each other and occasionally being eaten by the Elder Brain. And then the ones that survive are then implanted into the host of a humanoid. Under most of the write-ups, because the lore changes between editions, very specific groups can be used. So humans, elves, the Gith, Grimlocks, gnolls, goblinoids, and orcs are all available, could actually turn into a Mind Flayer. So Percy, for sure, given that humans and elves are both qualify, I assume Keyleth and the twins also qualify to be turned into Mind Flayers. Gnomes, at the time of recording, that wasn't a thing, although now gnome ceramorphs, which are like a modified version, are a thing. That was released in Rime of the Frost Maiden, which wouldn't come out for another few years after this was recorded. And then halflings are Never and Goliath don't work, and then non-mammals don't work either. So Tiberius, Grog, Kima, and the gnomes would have just been Snack.
And also Trinket.
And also Trinket would have just been... He is a mammal. Would have just been a snack. Potentially Percy Keyleth and the twins could have been mind flayers. You
A
notice
baby.
that nope. Well, then they
His
basically
babies.
sort of.
They're
They
cradle.
basically they tunnel into the brain, and then you can kind of fix that. Like, if you destroy the brain, destroy the head in that first few hours of implantation, and then use resurrection magic that can do the bane, like restore damage to the head, then you can fix it. And then after that point, over the course of a few days, they like morph into adult mind flayers. There's no like baby mind flayer state.
I'm pretty sure that the dwarf and the elf were like between getting these things into their brains and turning into mind flayers because they both have like holes in their skull.
Can never work on dwarfs.
Oh, so maybe just the elf.
Yeah. So I thought that had to do with Kavarn. That Kavarn was mind controlling them.
I mean, maybe Kavarn can do a thing where this also works with dwarves, and that what makes Kavarn so awesome or something.
Maybe, except I thought it was just Kavarn controlling everything. Like, because normally speaking, Dwargar and mind flayers hate each other, and they're working together here. And I thought that was all to do with Kavarn controlling the strings of everyone.
That's pretty much what the queen tells us when she's abducted mentally.
Yeah, which is basically to yada 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 the rest of the combat, because like
it's just combat. Yeah,
it's just
they after banishing her, they managed to basically take her captive
for a few minutes.
Yeah, like Grog and the Earth Elemental bond, and my Grogleth fields are primed and
There
ready.
was so much Grogleth in this episode. I was just thinking that. Also, I do deeply appreciate Percy here. We gotta take her captive and going headshot.
Buddy, getting a little overeager here. Yes, I did really enjoy because Keyleth tries to put him over her shoulder, and she's like, no, I'm gonna football carry him.
Yep. She just takes Grog and his portable torture rack with her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then can't get the bars open because she didn't roll great on the strength check.
She also tries to talk to him, but it's more like gravelly.
Yeah, so they just have like a nice little bondage sesh over there.
You just turned Grogleth into something different.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure our official top-to-bottom ranking says that Grog and Keyleth are on the same level, but the exact order is decided by a wrestling match with an Earth Elemental.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm
also pretty sure the official ranking is
something we're going to publish when we get 20 patrons.
Grog is very tortured.
He doesn't seem particularly bothered by it.
No, he thinks it makes him...
That's what I meant by that. He seems about as tortured as Ford was after the stint in Campaign 2.
He doesn't want to be healed because he wants all the little... Because he's got all these tiny, tiny little, thousands of nicks all over his body, and he wants them to turn into cool badass scars.
Yeah, I respect that investment in scarification on Grog's part.
Admittedly, I wouldn't go for the many, many thousand small ones, because I feel like that's kind of annoying. They would itch. I'd take a big one. But...
Unless the small ones form a cool pattern, then maybe?
Yes, but I would not tolerate a bunch of just many, many tiny paper cuts all over my body without a pattern. Just heal that shit for me, because, it might make a cool scar, but that is not worth the itching.
It also does sort of feel a little extraneous on Matt's part to have that happen. Now, granted, I don't remember, because I haven't watched, the amount of time that passed between Grog getting grog-napped and Grog getting rescued was how long? A couple days?
A day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at least
It feels
one long rest.
It feels a wee bit extraneous on Matt's part, I will say that.
Maybe they had I'll be honest with you, the first thing that came to my mind is a car wash situation where they just put him on the rack and then they walk him through a tunnel that has a brush that cuts him all over his body.
Steven Universe edgy AU.
They were on the run. When would they do that?
I don't doubt that they would have it, but so we only have 6 hours. Do it quickly. Put him in the car wash.
Now I'm just reminded of that Jenny Nicholson, the dark side makes no sense video, where she's like, yeah, put him in the van.
But yes, I was thinking you were going to go with the Jenny Jekyll something about the city full of cars.
Oh no, not that one. Although also works.
Also works. Anyway, they then attempt to interrogate the queen. That works.
Yes.
For a hot second.
Well, yeah, the queen is then like... Vax tries, then Vex tries, then Clarota does the hard work, and then Kvarn is like, hi, if you want to talk, you can just talk to me.
Yes, this also marks the first time that I fully laughed aloud in this episode, which happened like at least 3 times. And that was when Vex was interrogating the queen, and he's like, Vex, get over here. And she's like, I'm right here. He's like, I'm next to you. And I don't know, the way Laura says, like, I'm right here, just made me laugh really hard.
Oh, spatial awareness.
And you know what? You know what Vax does after he's done with the queen?
What?
Your favorite whole
shit.
thing, Val!
Why? Why does he
This is
do this?
officially the first time Liam does a pissing thing on as his character
Why
on
does
the
he do
stream.
this?
We don't know why he does this, it's just that he keeps doing it.
And he does it in so much detail this time. He's just in the background going, what a relief. It's like, God damn it, shut up.
Did he do it as Orem? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I mean, he's done it in Campaign 3, just I don't know if it's in character as well.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I tune it out. I go, my brain goes, no!
No more piss! I'm done with the piss!
I understand
but
that feces become a way more interesting topic as soon as you have to deal with the feces of your children, but like, you don't have to take this out on
I'm
us.
pretty sure both of
Please.
Liam's children are out of diapers by the time this episode was recorded.
Yes.
Yes, that as well. And definitely by today.
So, because
They
we
wasn't
skipped
Sam's
this,
children.
they try to
Anyways.
interrogate the queen about Kvarn. She begins to talk about Kvarn in very vague details, talking about how, like, he will protect the Jorgar from the effect of the sun so that they can take over the non-Underdark, the regular dark.
The Overdark.
The Overdark. The dark.
Which is also a thing with the Mind Flayers, the whole tyranny of the sun thing. Mind Flayers, or at least certain subsects of Mind Flayers in Forgotten Realms, are like super into just erasing suns on worlds so that they can conquer them. Which, given that that Kvarn also has Mind Flayers underhand, feels, I don't know, deliberate. Anyway.
You know that? So then Kvarn possesses her. Her eyes go black. Or I guess blacker. I'm not sure if they were black to begin with. But they go completely black. And then he speaks to Vox Machina for the first time. Basically invites them over
Feels
for
a little
tea.
bit like Vecna.
Which in retrospect has like very strong
Yeah, I
Vecna
was just
energy.
thinking that,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which was great!
This is just a blueprint.
Yeah, I will
We
admit
are
that
finding
actually-
so many things. It's going to get more egregious later on, but we're finding so many things in this episode that we liked in later parts of the campaign.
Yeah, though I'll admit that
Not the pissing.
I actually I like Kvarn a little bit better than Vecna.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like Kvarn has kind of this, like, he's kind of pathetic. You know what I mean?
Beholders are kind of
Vecna or
like
Kvarn?
that. I mean, I guess spoilers, surprise, Kvarn's a beholder.
What?
Kvarn's a beholder?
How dare you?
You
I was
ruined
looking forward to the
the
reveal.
whole arc for us. You're never invited on this podcast again.
I'll
It's
go
over
now.
now.
I'll go
The
now.
entire
Bye,
thing has been
guys.
ruined. Just pack it up.
Percy,
Last
Percy,
podcast.
get on the
He's
mic.
asleep.
Oh. I guess you get to stay then.
I'm glad that no matter how many
Fine.
spoilers I talk about, I at least rate higher than my sleeping cat.
But only the sleeping cat.
Wait, who knows? Yes, you were saying?
The beholders are just kind of pathetic and xenophobic, and like you'd think they'd be grand and great because they're these unknowable aberrations from beyond the planes of existence, and no, they just kind of run-of-the-mill suck.
Yeah, and like I feel like I actually I like that a little bit better than Vecna, who we're supposed to on some level take seriously as like this kind of,
I mean,
cultured
Yeah.
I mean,
creep.
True.
Whereas
yeah,
Kvarn is cultured, but he's also just kind of like a weird basement
Yeah.
floor. Like literally
he's
a basement
threatening
floor.
insofar as what he can do, but that's because he's a beholder. His ambitions, like, I'll be honest, like, But your ambitions would not have lasted very long from one castle full of Dwergar and one Mind Flayer colony. It would not have gotten you a lot of mileage.
No.
You would have been an annoyance, but briefly.
No, it wouldn't. What was your plan, bud?
Have you been to the surface?
I feel like Kavarn is just like has like a plan somewhere lying around where it's just like half written, and he keeps getting distracted by making his little flesh experiments. He's like, I'll figure it out
I feel like he was
later.
hoping the Horn of Orcus would give him more than it does, and I feel like he would have attempted like world domination with the Horn of Orcus, and then actual Orcus would have been showed up and like, give me my fucking horn back, dude.
Hey, give it, drop it. What do you have in your mouth? Drop it.
Thanks for finding it. You're a real bro.
What are you wearing?
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked out for a very long time. But yeah, Kavarn approaches them for the first time and then remotely kills the queen.
Yep.
So, take that down. Vox Machina didn't kill a captive. And not fucking try.
Yay.
I mean, they only not killed the captive because someone else killed her first. But we'll count it.
Yeah. What would they have done with her? I mean, kill her, obviously. I feel like.
Killed her. Killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vex would have done the same thing he did last time, which is like, try to kill her in a badass way and then end up forgetting how many arms he has. Which is what happened. Like, at some point, you remember, I don't know if this got kept in the episodes that were lost or not, but at some point he holds, like,
it's in episode 3.
Episode 3, yes. We've talked about it then. It's just, like, he's got a dagger in one hand, and he's holding the other, like, the prisoner off a cliff with the other hand, and then with a third hand, he holds a second dagger, and it's like, where did that hand come from?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, yeah.
That is strangely topical for this episode,
This is the
isn't it?
first appearance of the cube.
Oh, we're almost there.
Oh, are we getting into Kima?
Kima. Which I the first time I watched, like, well, not the first time, but when I listened to this time, I didn't really catch when Keyleth yelled at Kima.
Not here.
Keyleth yelled at Kima, like, earlier, in an earlier episode.
She yelled at Kima a few episodes ago.
Yeah, it just sort of happens now, and it's a bit weird.
What do you mean?
I don't know why it gets brought up here.
Well, I don't quite... Are we... Is this now...
I don't quite follow.
I mean, like, okay, so Kima finds her, deceased teammates.
That were deceased by Tiberius.
And then that were deceased by Tiberius, and she's just...
Yeah, but beyond saving Mad makes that very clear.
Yeah, but and there's like a quiet moment of like, well, that sucks. And then just sort of Keyleth goes off, and I'm not quite sure what launched that.
Well,
I think Keyleth...
To be fair, she goes off after Kima has been dragged away and is being distracted by Scanlan in ways we will have words for later.
Yeah, like, not to appropriate a term, but, like, what triggered it?
I think Keyleth was projecting that Vox Machina were the people that got thralled and then blown up. I think that's what triggered it. Why she's... I'll be honest, I didn't quite follow the vein of Keyleth's argument. I was definitely vaxxed with the insight check, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Like, my in-character interpretation of this is just the kill basically has a panic attack. That's the only way I could follow this, was just like, okay, don't think of this as reason. Think of this as Keyleth having, like, a full-on panic attack and is, catastrophizing.
Yeah.
And isn't being reasonable
Keyleth is very, we had, like, the conflict last time when she started yelling at Kima was that Keyleth is very upset about the amount of killing they're doing here, which is a little weird because from what we know from what happened pre-Scream, this shouldn't be more than they usually do, right?
I mean, they didn't even kill this captive.
Not this one, but many other people.
And guess what? They're gonna do more.
Yeah, so
who's done the most out of
issue
killing
with
so
that
far.
in general taking issue with that in general is okay. She was very upset at Kima telling them that killing the king was a good job, but like the king is literally working towards forming an army to take over the surface.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like, honestly, I think my main problem with this argument is that if you're going to take issue with any particular killing, I would take issue with the killing that Vax has been doing, which is mostly of guards.
And preemptively, yes.
And preemptively, not in combat.
Yeah, and like, it feels like to me, and I think this might be coupled together from this episode, the last one, and also what we know from supplementary materials later on, is that Keyleth has very strong issues with people doing something for religion in general.
Yeah.
And she has the feeling that Kima is just trying to lead them on a crusade.
Which I guess is technically reasonable since Kima is here on a vision quest.
So it's
just a little
like...
Yeah, it's just a little very odd that she
True.
Yes, and it's a little odd that she throws this fit after the thing that has been attacking the dwarves already has just told them that he's gonna take over the surface, like...
Yeah, Keyleth wants to go up. Keyleth just wants to leave. And at that point,
Keyleth wants to knock Kima out and carry her home, and like...
Yeah.
And also, I find it particularly odd because what is it the Ashari do?
Planes.
Like, they guard portals to the elemental planes, right? And when trouble is brewing in there that threatens to spill out into the prime material plane, what is it they do? Go home?
Well, they go play.
They just leave.
Steal Kraken mineral.
They stand there and just like, this isn't none of my business.
They steal Kraken poop.
Yeah, they do that. They just look at that portal and be like, oh, this is none of my business.
Yeah, if it's better, just leave.
I feel like it's a panic attack argument does make the most sense, but it was not the most, and I respect to Marisha for putting it out there, but it was not the most cogent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to follow.
No, I very much think in terms of like Watsonian versus Doyleist approach, I think that like it's a panic attack approach is what I've affixed to this because narratively it doesn't quite follow, and I don't think Marisha was going. I think Marisha was going for Keyleth is panicking. I think that was intentional, but the argument that I affixed to make this make sense as a character motive, not as a player motive, is Keyleth is just having a panic attack right now, and her reaction doesn't make sense.
And it also
panic attacks don't make sense.
She also, for some reason, seems convinced that Kima wants the Horn of Orcus.
She wants it so that it gets to get it sealed away.
To contain it.
Yeah, and like, why would the Horn of Orcus be better off down here with these people who are planning to launch an invasion to the surface than with Kima and her temple or something?
Or with Vox Machina, which has such a track record.
It is literally better in the bag of holding than it is attached to the head of... Well, they don't know what Kavarn is, but they know he's bad news.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Percy's gun.
They know he is a bad guy.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I had to.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a bad guy. Also, I mean, like, look at Vox Machina and tell me that these are the people that you want entrusted with dangerous items. To be fair,
a lot of their bad choices with dangerous items haven't happened yet. Except Percy's.
That's a good point.
True.
Except Percy's.
Well, is it a bad choice if it's made under duress and with no clear terms? Wow, it sounds like I'm defending Vax later on. We are going to...
I'm not even touching upon Vax, I'm mostly thinking about Percy found an evil sword and then put it under his bed for 2 weeks. Because his defense mechanism
He was not led astray by the rake. He kept the rake under his bed.
Percy's logic with magical items is exactly the same as it probably was when he broke into his porn stash.
Yeah. When he found a dirty book when he was a teenager and just I just need to put this under my bed and I can't harm anyone.
Giving the raunchy novel to Grog because he can't read, whereas Craven Edge talks to him.
Bad one. Bad choice.
This is another metaphor for Craven Edge, and I appreciate that.
Now it's a porn stash. Good.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this whole thing happens, and then comes the very, very, somehow even more uncomfortable than the first thing.
Yeah. Scanlan is just off to the side, distracting Kima by first showing her a third nipple, and then attempting to show her his now polymorphed into bigger-sized dick.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, like, behind, like, it's implied that he's just been showing her things on his body for a while now, and, like, please leave this woman alone. Please, she's very tortured. Please leave. Even if she wasn't very tortured, just leave her alone. By the way,
one of my favorite lines, like, when Keyleth starts talking about Kima, she's been giving me this bad vibe, which already, like, in 2015 the word vibe wasn't as much of a thing, and, like, she's been very rude, and then Vex is like, she's been very tortured.
Yeah.
Which is the exact argument we will have been made in our re-recording of the episode in which we cover her.
Has she... And granted, it's been a very long time since I've seen those episodes. I don't remember Kima being particularly rude even at the time.
No, she's kind of intense, but she's intense
fine.
about bashing her torturer's face in, which I think can be excused.
Yeah.
And then she's a little upset about working with Clarota, which for reasons we have already covered this episode, she was completely right about.
And just in general, like, mind flayers usually bad. Bad news.
Yeah.
I also just, like, I would love to take a moment and consider this from, like, Kima's perspective. Like, this whole situation of just, like, let's put ourselves in Kima's boots, shall we? Like, you've been tortured for a while. Your teammates are dead. You get saved by this group that claim to be have been sent by your ex, which is, like, ouch.
True, yes. Her ex who didn't even come here herself.
Ex didn't even come in person. Yeah. It's just, like, sent some
And they are complete catastrophes.
They have a mind flayer with them.
So they're stupid, they are, and two of them are constantly creeping on you.
Two of them are constantly creeping on you.
One of them is trying to turn Kima into a wingman to set him up with her ex.
You shut your brain down and you go like, I just need to get through with this.
You literally see her, like, being like, okay, these people are my only shot at survival.
Some of them are alright.
But you just sort of shut it down and you go like, I need to do what I need to do to survive. And you just try to be as polite as possible. Okay?
So I just have to roll with this for now if I want to live.
So then this happens, and you've just already agreed to this, and now this whole battle happens. Their friend gets kidnapped and tortured. You think, like, hey, maybe we can bond over this. You know, now they understand me a little bit better. You find two of your teammates who've been murdered by the team, but, like, it's fine. It's neither here nor there. Then, one of them just starts fully freaking out. Another one of them is pissing. They then take the girl who's fully freaking out away, and then another party member just walks up to you and starts sexually harassing you. Like, what do you do at that point?
Yeah.
Kima handles this extremely gracefully.
She really did. Also, I just had a thought, and it has nothing to do with Kima. So, Percy has obviously been Orthaxed. Orthax is a demon. By the divine sense can sense demons. Do you think that if at any point Kima had divine sensed around Percy, she would have picked up Orthax? She's just like, at this point, this might as well happen.
Yeah, she just, like, does the little, like, monkey puppet thing of just, like, looking at him and looking away. She's like, well, that's not my problem. I've got enough to deal with. I don't need this.
Oh, God. Yeah, this is just...
Let's just pretend I didn't see that. I choose not to see it.
Kima is choosing to be very non-judgmental for now.
Yeah! Kima's being... Especially considering how we've seen, like, non-desperate Kima behave, which is a lot more abrasive and fun. Like, Kima is, like, just... holding it together.
Yeah.
Like a champ.
Must have done some severe, like, okay, I know they're a lot, but they're very confident, and honestly, they're actually pretty good. Like, the amount of reputational damage control Allura had to have done with Kima when they got back.
The amount of TR salvaging. Just like, I know, but like, give them another, I know.
You saw them from the bad side. Everyone's a little stir crazy. They've been underground for a while at this point. It's sometimes they're a little stupid.
Does Keyleth ever stop doing that?
I mean, Keyleth is very ride or die for Kima later on in the campaign, so you know.
Yeah, she did some reparative stuff.
I mean, it helps that at some point that Keyleth and Kima are basically on the very same team when it comes to how to handle Raishan. So that's a bonding experience, I suppose.
Yay! But yeah, I commend Kima for staying with the party, because I think at this point, if I was in her shoes, I would just, like, turn around and just start walking in a different direction.
Yeah.
Just walk. I don't know where.
This is a crusade.
I don't know how.
I'm gonna
just
get
walk.
the manpower for a real crusade.
In hindsight, I think, given how generally murdery hobo Vox Machina are in this arc, I think the time they get yelled at for how they handled the Briarwoods after the feast, like, might have been a bit of a turning point in general for how they handled everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that, they have to, like... I also think that there's a level of just, like, becoming the heroes kind of makes them notice how they're treating people. Like, if they are supposed to be the heroes, they need to kind of treat people better.
Yeah, and I will say that we have a similar argument already also started by Keyleth about the amounts and kinds of killing they're doing later on in the Briarwoods arc, when it makes a little more sense. But you also just have this undercurrent of Keyleth being relieved when they start an uprising instead of, like, going in there, as Marisha says, like the United States, and just turning stuff over. I think that's also a little bit what she's afraid of here, but, like, if you want a UN mandate to stop this invasion, I'm pretty sure the dwarves aren't eligible for one of those.
Also,
nope.
I feel like Bahamut is the UN mandate. I mean, he's Bahamut.
Yeah!
He's Bahamut!
Yeah!
He's Big Daddy Dragon.
I understand that Keyleth doesn't like religion very much, and, like, especially in retrospect, who can blame her?
Yeah, she gets a lot. Like, I get the why she would think that in general, especially since the Ashari don't in general seem to be that into the gods.
And into the gods, and they're not into interfering with other things happening on the prime material plane. But what exactly do they do with the elemental planes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, the thing I want to make sure that we do is, like, we're not here to step in... Like, Keyleth has been bullied enough by the fandom. We don't need to help with that.
No.
But there are ways of, like, looking at her behavior and critiquing it without, like, trashing her, and also acknowledging that Kima is also a character.
Yeah. Wasn't so much like, I don't want to, trash Keyleth. It was just... It's an odd argument, shall we say.
Yes.
It's an extremely odd argument.
Yeah, the cast seems to agree. Like, they treat this like her freaking out over something they don't understand. You will see us defending Keyleth many, many, many times on this podcast. Just so many times.
Just not right now.
Not right now. I will also say that after the inside check, Vex is like, we're here for you, we're your family, it's fine. This seems like very non-sequitur to what's actually going on. But to be fair, what's actually going on is also very non-sequitur, but Vex yelling, insistently saying comforting words at someone while they're having a completely unrelated problem is also something we're going to be seeing later on.
Yeah, I feel like Vex isn't the best at reading the room.
No.
I also always find it very weird how he's, like, very much like, we are family, we're here together, we go down together.
Yeah, that's the issue. She's watching her entire family march to their deaths. Hello.
Yeah.
Which is admittedly Vex's attitude towards all of this all the time.
Everything all the time. That's why he keeps doing, we feel happy few speeches. But
he's had like 2 of those already.
Yeah, he's very focused on those. But the main thing that I keep thinking about is, like, pre-episode 40. It's like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey!
Weren't you the one who was about to leave the party?
Hey, Vex, what happened to that family? Is it only applicable as long as Keyleth doesn't reject you? The timing on that is so unfortunate. We'll get there when we get there. Everybody stay hydrated.
Talking about Keyleth and not rejecting Vex, is this the start of Vaxleth? Like, is this it?
Yes. I think Liam has gone on record saying that it is. And
I mean, I choose to, because I'm not going to listen to Liam ever once in my life, but I choose to believe that the start of Vaxleth was a much more fun thing where she gives them a petrified heart.
yes.
Like, that's nice, that's cute, it's weird, it's fun, it's very Keyleth. It feels like Keyleth initiated.
But let's be real, seeing a woman in distress that he can yell vaguely comforting things at that completely miss the point is a very Vax thing to fall in love with.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to, I was watching this going, like, picking seeds of where things started, and Percy and Vex didn't interact all that much this episode, so...
No, but we've had moments.
Yeah, I know moments existed before this, they're just not in this particular episode. So I'm guessing,
No.
Insofar as Vax was the one to try to insight check and figure out what was going on, I'll guess I'll give him that, in the interest of being nice.
I mean, apparently Matt, told him an entire backstory about religious trauma that Keyleth had, and that was apparently something he fell in love with, which is a choice.
Really? When did he say that? I don't remember that come up at all.
I don't know. I absorb information like a sponge and have Liam saying this in my brain, but whether this was on a Q&A session, on a Periscope, on an early Vox Machina, on a Twitter thread, I have no idea. I just very distinctly remember this happening.
And we will never know.
It came to me in a dream.
It came to me in a dream. Okay, so returning to the episode.
Yeah,
we're not even gonna go into Scanlan's actually harassing.
It was awful. I don't know why he did it. Well, I know why he did it. Yeah, Sam thought it was funny, but
no, and the continued jokes about his penis size.
The cube is now a thing, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks.
Pretend we do not see it.
Yeah, 1.5 by 1.5 inches. Did you need to know that? I didn't need
I'm really glad that you guys were like, here, pick this one because it's talking about Yug'voril, but I also got to be here for the start of the cube.
Congratulations. Aren't you happy? So...
it's fine.
We can tell.
So Clarota...
Yeah, all things considered, the next episode might have been better, but hey!
Happy little mind flayer.
Not telling them about getting their brains sucked. Or any of the rest of it. But...
It is a little cute.
I like Clarota. I really do. I missed him, because it had been a minute. I missed Matt's cute little hand-drawn maps. But, you're right. I would like to see... See, there's a part of me that would really love, and I don't know how possible it is, but Matt can do whatever the heck he wants, to see, and I've mentioned this to them in the chat for everyone else, to see in Campaign 3 an undead spellcasting mind flayer with a big fucking hole in his head meeting the party and maybe having a bit of a beef with Ashton that they can't figure out because maybe they're just like, well, for mind flayers, Ashton's head is kind of like the display shop in a bakery. Yeah.
You can't even have it.
Right, Ashton is just parading the snack tray the entire time, huh?
But they're like, maybe that's why. Maybe Ashton just looks real tasty to this, cracked, skinned mind flayer. And it's just undead Clarota, because there exists a thing called either an Illithid or an Alhoon, and I'll be using Alhoon because Illithid is a bitch to say.
Yeah, try saying that 3 times quickly.
Illithid, yeah.
Where it's but they have to make the active decision to do the lich thing, and they're not quite liches. They're sort of liches, but they are undead spellcasting mind flayers, but they have to do a ritual to do it. And then there's also true liches that are also mind flayers, but are more Vecna style with the phylactery and all the rest of it.
Okay, but if you have to go through a whole ritual to do this, it seems like a lot of effort. And first of all, the conscious choice, and second of all, the ritual. I don't think that the colony would do that for Clarota, right?
No, they do it. They do it alone. So the whole thing with because they get excluded from the colony, when a mind flayer dies in a colony, they give their brain to the elder brain, and then the elder brain eats the brain, and then the elder brain like absorbs the memories that are in the brain, and therefore the Illithid lives on forever in some sense. It's like mind flayer religion, essentially. And
it's kind of like consecution.
Yeah, kind of. Except it's just in the elder brain.
I mean, like, I genuinely think that, like, consecution isn't... Sorry, Matthew Mercer, I find it kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, I think it's intended to be creepy.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of it. And also, like, I don't fundamentally see the difference between a consecution and an elder brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
The aesthetics are nicer. You get the hot drow boys.
You are slightly less of a hive mind,
and
but,
girls.
Like, can you prove that?
Yeah.
There's less brain slurping.
Also, let's not denigrate the mind flayers. Just because they're evil does not mean they can't get it.
Alright.
Something you want to share with the class?
Of all the ways monster fucking I thought would go, that's not one of them.
I don't know, they're stylish. Have you ever seen, like, listen, it's fine.
Their art is great. I will give you they are very cool. Why do you think I like them so much?
You can probably do many things with those tentacles.
I don't need to back this up.
The second piece of that is that sometimes the reason where elder brains come from is that sometimes they get, like, because normally they have 4, and then sometimes, it's Illithid, where is it? Hang on, where's the word? Illithid. It's like a special fancy Illithid that has 6 tentacles. And those, when they die,
sexy.
Their brains become new elder brains, so that's where elder brains come from.
Should I be concerned? Should I be concerned by the amount of tentacle lore you two know?
I did Mind Flayer research specifically for this. You cannot hold me accountable for this.
That is not what I mean. I mean, I am constantly amazed that between us, Bal is the horny one.
I'm just saying, like, listen, it's not even about the tentacles, it's about the style. It's about the stylish. They're just stylish.
They have high collars, it's nice.
It's nice. They're cool. I think they can get it. Like, listen, there's a lot of monsters in the monster guide. Like, don't worry about it.
So that bonus content flipping through the monster manual saying what you'd fuck?
They're also aliens. They are the closest thing to aliens that the explicitly fantasy D&D settings get. They are from the astral plane, which is basically space. They have spaceships. They don't know how to build anymore. According to some theories, they are potentially from the far future, having traveled back in time. Yes, that is a thing. They are aliens, and they are just living underground because they hate the sun. Illithids are cool.
Yes. Illithids are cool.
For 100 patrons, we will go through the monster manual and tell you which monsters we'd fuck.
You don't want to know the answers.
Clarota is E.T. That is my take of the day. Clarota is E.T.
There we go. Are you suggesting...
I mean, my very Christmassy take of the day was that Clarota is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Which I do believe. I think that makes sense. I also am very interested in the implications of the E.T. goes back, E.T. goes home and then goes back to his elder brain and is like, kill them.
Those poor...
Yep.
Tries to eat that one kid that rode the bike.
Yep. Like, that one has tasty snacks. Kill them. Kill them first.
Cool. Okay. Can I talk about my Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing?
Please stop.
Okay, so in the actual episode that we're talking about, Clarota gets very happy that they're approaching his home, Yug'voril, the thing in the title. And he tells them again about his story, how he longs to rejoin the hive mind. He's very open about that. And how he's convinced they will take him back once he has provided them the service of freeing them from Kavorn. They will finally understand that that the thing that makes them an outcast / special is actually useful, so he's allowed to be fit in back with the group. And since this is our Christmas special, I found this to be very fitting.
Clarota the special Illithid
had a very... I don't.
Arcane.
Mark.
And if you ever
saw him in somewhere in the Underdark,
you would even say he floats?
I don't know.
They all float. He explains this episode that they all float. It's like learning how to
They all
walk.
float.
Okay,
I'm gonna be proud about that horrible rhyme that I just made.
You rhymed Mark and Dark. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You would even say he casts.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Yes?
He has lightning powers. Does that
Go
count?
On.
Oh god. I'm not gonna put the music under this because, like, I'm pretty sure that's copyrighted, but, like, god, I'm tempted.
I am suddenly regretting having started this.
He has Blade Ward as a cantrip. Assuming he's a Mind Flayer Arcanist. I have it up in front of me. Don't ask me why.
Clarota is under the delusion that if he... Well, I mean, it's not even delusional, but, like, he's under the belief that if he is special enough and good enough and saves the hive mind, they'll take him back.
He has main character syndrome.
He does. We've talked about this. He's not like the other Underdark. He's not like the other mind players.
Yeah. And he's just sad boying it up in here. He's even purple for y'all. And you can also kind of tell, like, the entire party is just completely gung-ho for him. What?
He's a purple arcane caster.
And he didn't even try to fuck Vax. Wow. This is why he had to die.
He is the original hot boy.
He's the original hot boy.
He's even a desert. He's a desert. He hates the sun. Estic doesn't like the sun.
Oh god.
I mean, I don't know. Does Gilmore not like the sun?
No, Gilmore probably likes the sun.
Gilmore likes the sun. Gilmore's fine. Gilmore's the exception.
Gilmore's the one healthy choice in this bunch.
It's just a dating sim. Pick a purple arcane caster.
Helpful boyfriend.
Why has nobody made a dating simulator with Critical Role characters yet? That is a true question.
Anyway, we should probably move on because we haven't even gotten a break yet.
No, we are past the break. The break. Clarota getting homesick is past the break. We are 2 hours in and past the halfway point.
Good.
Yeah, okay, so what I was going to say is that everyone, especially Vex, is just so ready to be like, no, Clarota, you can have a family with us. You can stay with us. Ah.
Like
okay,
if you
guys.
cry every time.
Yes. Yes,
Vex wants to adapt. Vex wants to adopt the side boy, yes.
That's what I just said,
this already. I apologize.
Yes, then they have a thing about, well, Grog tries to hit on Kima. Kima thinks he wants to bro out about armor and bashing heads and weapons with her. It's kind of sad, but they're gonna get there eventually.
Yes.
And then they have a very uncomfortable thing where, like, Kima and Vex want to switch armor, and it's implied that Kima takes her armor off and is naked under it, which...
That's not how chainmail works at all.
Yeah, Madge is the first person to just say that every time. That's not how that works.
You do not wear armor, be it leather or chainmail, which Vex is apparently wearing. You do not wear this on your naked skin. You do not. Yeah. Same way you don't wear corsets on your naked skin. Or stays.
It's bad for your skin.
This is how you get rashes.
This is how you don't have skin anymore.
Chaves and no, it's gonna chafe. Everyone has at least a shift under it. Usually more padding.
You're gonna get the worst diaper rash.
The worst. Yes, Liam puts his foot on the table again for another foot repair session.
Pike uses a 4th level spell.
I'm just happy there's no piss involved.
On Vax's foot.
Okay.
I remember that. I was being like, really? Wow. The spell conservation kind of stood out to me.
It stands out to me every single episode because just like, I am a level 9 paladin now. How do y'all guys have so many spells to waste?
Gee, Vox Machina, how come your DM gives you so many spells?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite as egregious as that time during the trial of the take where apparently Matt was now making them really track spells, and then Tiberius wanted to take a long rest in the middle of a chase sequence.
I have exhausted all my resources. We're going to sleep in this dungeon while we're pursuing someone. I don't understand the problem with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep right here.
We'll get there when we get there, everybody. Take a drink, stay hydrated.
So they approach the Illithid city.
Which is just a temple that has been reappropriated from Ioun, I think. Didn't that come up that they were like, they had a galaxy brain moment when they realized that Yug'voril was one of the ziggurats?
Oh, is there a ziggurat?
Oh, that makes sense. I forgot about that.
Fucking Ioun.
Just letting any old bastards take over her temple.
Ioun, I know you've got like a chronic illness going, but you think you could
get ADT?
Yeah. Just get somebody on it.
I mean, she has, in a way, doesn't she?
She sure does. His name is... spoilers. Whatever. We can't open that can of worms here.
Nope.
That can of worms should be opened when it comes up.
Hey, Christine, do you want to be here for when that can of worms gets to be opened?
Might as well.
Oh. See you in 10 years.
See you in 10 years. We're gonna go over how our friendship got started. Vex tries to have a moment with Keyleth.
Yes, he tries to follow up on what happened last night, but when he does this, Marisha is distracted because her and Talis are whispering. They have. I mean, it's cute, but they have very bad table etiquette and cross-talking all the time, and they just treat this like Vax is trying to have a moment with Keyleth while she is giggling with Percy in a corner, which I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Mood.
Yes. Percy has to spell out very carefully that this is a trap. It's actually leads to a kind of cute. It's not a Persalia moment, but I'm gonna consider it such because I want to.
Yes.
The thing where he's like, no going into the temple. And Vex is like, you mean no going to the temple? No going to the temple. And then she's like, so we go into the temple. And he's like, yeah, we're going to the temple.
Yeah, it's a little hilarious.
They do go into the temple, so...
It's a little hilarious how Percy has to feels the need to take them all aside and be like, listen, the villain of this arc has told us to go into his temple, which means, listen very carefully now, that we should not.
Yes.
See,
and everybody knows.
See, I choose to believe that Kima probably thought, based on how Percy's acted this entire arc, which has been pretty rational, all things considered, that Percy was the on-the-level one in the party, and then found out that he was possessed by a demon the whole time, and was like, what?
Damn it!
No, my theory is that she notices his possession by a demon at this point, but is like, but if I say anything, I'm going to lose the only voice of reason here. I can't do that.
The worst situation. What if she gets rid of the demon and he just, becomes, crazy like the rest of Vox Machina? What if the demon is the only thing holding it, Kima just having a quiet crisis of faith because, what if the demon is making him better? What if he needs this?
And then she finds out that he doesn't know about the demon and is probably like, what? I can't!
How does he...
Unethical contracts, that's how. It's gonna be my pet peeve for the entire podcast.
Yes.
For eternity.
And you are valid.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Grog
so
moves
they're
older.
In a cavern,
Tiberius
in a canyon.
Ruins everything.
Yeah, they're are they already in a crystal cavern? It's crystal caverns and fungal forests. It's very scenic, and a boulder blocks the way that Grog and Pike kind of move. And then Liam goes, Scanlan, you as well, and I'm like, okay, so, Christine, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have called out many a time that Scanlan is just called into skill checks. He has absolutely no business being called into.
I actually think that Scanlan has a decent strength, better than most other members of Vox Machina's strength score, though. So
doesn't Percy have a pretty good strength?
His strength score is, I think it's yeah. Does he have a higher strength than Vax? Because I think they have the same, and they're both very much not for lifting heavy boulders.
I thought it was a 15 for some reason.
I mean, Vax also called for Scandal for stuff like stealth and insight checks, and insight is definitely nothing he should be called for. And by now I just consider this to be a running gag.
I have the level 20 sheets up. Let's see the level by level. Okay. I want to see the Scanlan level by level.
I don't think he puts points into strength.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything with it. It's the same the whole time, but I think it's 15 for some reason.
Also,
okay, by level 10, episode 009.
That's where they are right now.
Yeah, this is literally the episode that we're in. His strength is 13, his intelligence is 14, his dexterity is 11, his wisdom is 7, his constitution is 15, which is pretty good, and his charisma is 20. I'm going to find it for Percy.
Percy just has no stat in the single digits, ever.
12. So, one point difference.
Vax, we want Vax's strength, which I think is also like 12.
14. Vax is 14.
14. So Vax is stronger.
Vax would be better at lifting this boulder than Scanlan.
Because Scanlan has a 13.
A jack of all trades does a bit, but it's not that powerful, actually.
Not unless you're Vax.
Vax doesn't have... Does Vax
oh no, he has a reliable talent.
He has reliable talent.
That's only on things that you're proficient on, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Jack of all trades is a different thing.
Jack of all trades gives you like half your proficiency modifier to everything you're not proficient in. It's like the Bard thing.
But there you go. We fact check on this website. I have a brain. Don't worry about it.
Do you? Do you have a brain or has it been eaten?
I don't know. Apparently it's been eaten by mind flayers. I should get that looked at. Maybe that's why I'm attracted to them.
That would explain so much about you, darling.
Ceramorphosis.
Here on this podcast, we check things upon very rare occasion.
We sure do. Okay, so while we're at being mad about Tiberius, who ruins Grog lifting this boulder with his mage hand.
Which doesn't even do anything because mage hand lifts like 5 whole pounds.
No. It doesn't. It distracts Grog and now he needs to get a massage.
But Tiberius has to be the main character.
Is he kind of cheating on Allura here?
It's not as bad as it will get.
Maybe he wants, Kima to send him a good word.
That's why he hits on Vex?
Put in a good word for him. Don't ask me to explain the terrible behavior of this man.
I mean, I understand the protagonist's logic of if you have a love interest outside the party, that's not going to give your relationship as much screen time as having a love interest in the party. A conundrum we are not encountering for the last time.
Yeah.
But still, has anyone... I remember that this is a thing, because it's very hard to miss with uncomfortable things later on, but apparently Tiberius hitting on Vex is a thing here?
It is. He calls her love.
I had completely forgotten that.
He calls her love, and I can't explain enough the difference between Percy calling Vex dear and Tiberius calling her love. It's just worlds apart.
Worlds apart.
It's awful.
And I feel like somewhere in some alternate universe, there is a version of Vox Machina, the story of Vox Machina, where Persalia is still a thing, because Tiberius' presence would not, I don't think, affect that any way, shape, or form, but that Tiberius is also in what, a love vector with Vex? Because Vex doesn't... It's not a love triangle, because Vex and Percy are Vex and Percy, and then also Tiberius is there.
He's also interested in Allura, allegedly, but I mean...
I guess you...
So maybe it's wanting Tiberius to be at the apex of a love triangle? And then... I don't know. I had completely forgotten it, and I was sitting there wandering around collecting shards in the Frostback Basin, going, I hate parkouring up these stupid cliffs, and then,
Valid.
And then that happened, and I had to stop and be like,
just full body, no, don't, never do that again, and then he does it again.
He does it again so many, not so many times, but enough times to be memorable. And it's just, I like how it's a complete no-sell for the party every time. Every time Scanlan creeps on Pike, everyone is a little bit endeared by it, and every other ship moment as well, but this is just a complete no-sell every time.
No!
Good.
No, don't. Go into the shame corner. Never do this again. It's so bad, and he sound... I can't... I don't have words for how smarmy it is.
That's the word for it.
Yeah.
It's smarmy.
It's kind of electric.
I couldn't put words to it. It feels
smarmy with a side of condescending.
Yeah.
It feels like making Vex the love interest in my story where I'm the main character, as opposed to.
And it's not
our
like,
mutual story.
I can see the kind of love. I can see the love triangle here, and it would be like Laura as like the safe choice, and like Vex is like the sexy choice.
Oh god, she's the hot rebel girlfriend that his parents wouldn't
the
like.
Betty and Veronica, I guess.
Yep. Which is like, shows how much you know about Vex, because Vex is nobody's Bengal girlfriend. She wants to buy a house together.
True.
Yeah, like, at most...
She's not your manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, at best, this is like the punk rock girl version in like Percy's playlist, where it's just like, yeah, she's punk rock, and we're gonna go drive around in a car very fast. And then, like, you actually drive around
and then get
in
naked
a car.
together. This is the wildest it gets.
Yes. And, like, for Percy and Vex, like, driving around in a car very fast together is, like, driving just above the speed limit, but not that much, because, like, they're in a school section.
It's basically that time you dangled off a broom.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered that set of playlists and the vibe and the fandom and the franchise at the time. That was a good time. That was a good time.
I'm trying to distract us from the bad, just the bad feeling.
Okay, so that's... Okay, I'm going to go over this part very quickly. So they go through what the boulder was blocking, and they find the remains of an old adventuring party that Vax can apparently identify down to the gender just from the skeletons that are 200 years old, which...
Gendering the skeleton? I don't know.
You can't, like, historians and archaeologists are historically extremely bad at figuring out gender just from skeletons.
You're missing the point. Clearly the skeletons that our ladies are wearing boob plate.
Ah, thank you. That explains
As was the fashion 200 years ago. That explains everything. Thank you very much. I just thought he had like a seminar at Assassin School for it. What?
You know what? I prefer it. I'll take it.
Boob plate or Assassin School?
Yeah.
No, I'll take boob. As much as I hate boob plate, I'd much rather that he just finds the boob instead of like discovering the biological sex of these skeletons by being like these skeletons have a larger jawbone and doing that bullshit.
I can see those luscious hips from here.
Yeah, I'd rather it's just like, oh yeah, I found they have their pronouns inscribed on their armor.
Oh
name
yeah,
tags.
all of this remains a name tag with pronouns. Okay.
200-year-old adhesive really goes.
Like one of those sets of armors is really shiny and really well preserved. So Vax approaches this, tries to loot it off a corpse, triggers a trap, and gets life energy sucked out of him.
Yeah, you aren't the only one who had that.
This will.
Huh. What does that remind you of? Except it only affects Vax. Therefore,
you're not even singing congratulations. Sing congratulations to me, please.
No, I will never do this. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just hearing, like, the intro to,
Who has invented a new kind of stupid? Now, bitches!
it was always Vax, let's be real.
It was always facts. Anyway, he gets super cursed.
Super cursed, but Kima is there, so it's fine.
And then something very cute happens, which is the siblings argue about the armor.
Well, they
Vex,
argue about the armor that Kima is now not wearing anymore because she wants to plate mail.
Yeah, and actually it turns out that Vax loaned his armor for Kima. And Vex is like, I'll give you my armor for that armor in return. Or, like, I give you this armor so then I can get that armor, despite the fact that this was Vex's armor originally. And by the time he realizes that she's already putting it on, he's like, I have it on, you can't take it back.
And then they roll for it. They're playing rollies before it was called rollies.
Mm-hmm.
And Vex wins, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yeah, she does. She gets to keep it.
She usually...
She's very proud of herself.
Yes. They do this, like, a number of times, just sibling rollies over loot or something, and she usually loses. But not this time.
Yeah. And Matt is, like, he's like, oh, contested persuasion checks, and they're like, oh, Matt.
Sure.
Let's call it persuasion checks, sure.
It still would have gone Vex side because her persuasion is much higher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So what happens next? There's a spooky lake and island.
Yeah, and you're right. The whole scenery of the mushroom forest and the lake and the island and the Yug'voril is all really, really scenic. And like, I get why they're skipping this arc for the animated series.
Yeah.
It's but it would look really good. Maybe they'll come back to it eventually.
Yeah.
It would. I also wanted to mention that one of the skeletons actually leads into like a background arc, or like a very small background. So
Really?
mini quest.
You mean the Thunderbrand one?
Yeah. Because basically one of the people who sent them was like, can you look for this particular thing? And they find it, and it's basically like an amulet that's inscribed with like "Forlorna, my love."
Mm-hmm.
And later, go return it to that person, and he like sheds a tear because like that was his essentially long lost love, who he never really found out what happened to her, and now he gets closure.
Oh, I forgot that. That's nice.
Yeah, I remember that. It was and I think Tiberius was just like, ooh, cool magic trinket to bring back to the Thunderbrands, but it actually had more to it.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to vaguely remember who the Thunderbrands even are, which is amazing to me because they spent 2 episodes attacking their house.
Yep. But I do remember really liking that, because it's just like, it's a thing that's not, it happens very quietly, it's not really remarked upon, but it's just like this tiny thing that happens and like concludes in a satisfying way. Like, he just gets the amulet back and like sheds a tear about it, and is like, thank you for returning this to me. It's like, now he gets to have that closure.
Yeah.
Nice.
We looted her corpse.
Yeah. I don't know if it's
reality.
It's a skeleton at that point. So there's the very, very cool sort of lake and is there a cave? I remember there being a cave.
There are caves all around that they debate at length whether to loot or not.
And eventually decide to do so,
Yep.
which I believe leads to the cloaker next episode.
Maybe.
Yeah, but they see this boat. Kind of, I think
underwater. There's a couple boats.
Vex sees the boat, yes, because she rolls high on the perception.
Yeah, and Keyleth does a cannonball, which will never come back.
No, Keyleth does she cannonball? She swan dives. She swan dives,
right, she
which
swan dives
also never comes back.
Never comes back. Don't worry about it. She turns into a shark, which is, I believe, a type of fish. Maybe like a silver fish, some sort of color of fish. And then Grog follows it up with a cannonball, because this is the Grogleth episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a Grogleth episode. I forgot how much I love these two.
Really fun.
Grogleth was always hold a quiet, happy place in my heart.
Yeah, they're cute.
They are.
They find this old boat that they are intended to, like, sort of, there's a specific word that I'm trying to think of. Like when you bring a boat up from the hang on.
Dredge?
Maybe it's dredge. But yeah, they want to
Bergen.
There's
a German word for it. Man birgt ein
To
Wrack.
bring the boat up?
Yeah, dredge. It's a dredge. They're dredging them. They want to dredge this boat and use it to sail. I know because...
And Percy fixes it!
Percy fixes it! I know this because Scanlan sings a song about it.
He tries.
He poorly sings.
He tries.
He gets a D6 for his efforts.
I'm not very convinced by this entire boat maneuver.
Yep.
Well, it was once again another, look at me, I'm here.
I mean,
I'm really trying not to
No,
harp
I mean,
on it,
like,
but
yeah, the whole Tiberius showboating, haha, thing, sure, but I struggle to understand the need for this boat, and also struggle to
there's-
believe that they actually managed to fix this boat and make it seaworthy in, like, an afternoon on the shore.
Yeah, there's a whole song by Steve Rogers about the process of raising a boat after it's been sank, and it is a very lengthy process. You should listen to it. It's a fun song. But it involves, like, several dives. You have to, like, they have to first, like, close everything underwater so that they can then move the ship around so they can lift it, and, like, then they have to dredge all the water from the ship. And, like, it's a process.
Yes,
Like,
right.
you basically have to fix everything underwater before you can actually bring it to the surface.
Also, something tells me that wood of a boat that has been underwater for, like, few years, up to a few hundred
Not
years,
very seaworthy.
is not gonna be very seaworthy if you've spent, like, half an afternoon fixing it, no matter what Percy does to
Yeah.
it, like, no.
Percy's got the magic
Percy's
touch, but he's
just
not.
that good.
He's that good.
Just that good.
Also, boat repairs
Percy
are, like,
does.
involved.
at boats, even though he is very much a weapons guy.
Yeah, also,
Percy does have a weird, like, very fatherly. Like, it's the one of the most, like, details about him is how much he likes boats. Like, he wants an airship.
the airship.
The boat that Vorugal had, he was just really into that for no reason.
Really into
Right.
boats. He was a fisherman for a little bit. He's like, he knows all, like, I remember when they tried to rent a boat, he's like, we're
Charter,
charting
dear,
it.
charter.
We're charting it. Because he's very weirdly into, like, I feel like Percy would be very into, like, a boat in a bottle.
Oh, yes.
He makes them as part of his, like, he has little clockwork boats in bottles.
It's just,
Oh.
he just kind of likes boats, this guy.
He just, like, he buys, like, a rundown old boat and he parks it in the yard and Vex is like, what?
Never uses it. Oh, Dad, are we gonna... No.
You know, and he's just like, me and the kids were gonna fix it up this summer, and Vex is like, okay.
Sure you are.
Sure you are, sweetie. Yeah, darling. Okay. Whatever makes you happy.
I can also just reiterate for this and the future and anything, no matter what this upcoming Taldori guide tells us, we know for a fact from Laura's short video that Vex and Percy are still together.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, it comes out in about a month. It is canon unless we don't like it, in which case it isn't canon.
Yes.
I
this
can't
hurts.
imagine that too much has changed with Vox Machina, but, you know, anything could
Yeah.
happen.
If they have a son named Vax, it's not canon.
Nope.
I refuse to acknowledge
Yep.
it.
I could be very wrong. I don't think they're gonna name the kids. That Matt is going to put.
Who's Max?
They might name a kid Max, that would be okay.
I don't think Matt is going to name any of the Derolo kids. I think the only reference to them is going to be that, like, because again, it's a campaign guide. It's not a book, right? It's not a novel. I think the only information that is going to be is just enough to set the scene of Whitestone, and it's going to be like, and Percival and Vexalia are married. They've been together a while, and they have X number of children, and that's like it.
There we
And
go.
grandchildren.
I'm happy with
They could have grandchildren at this point.
Yeah.
that. And there's so many bear cubs all over Whitestone.
That too.
Anyway, we're so close to the end
So
of the episode.
close. So close. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they fix up this boat for no discernible reason because they can just cross the lake in any other number of ways, but hey, who are we to judge?
They could just all turn into sharks, but okay.
Can they already? I don't know, but they can fly. They've managed to cross.
No, that is
They've
an
managed to
eighth-level
cross
spell.
crevasses before flying. So how is this?
I think they just really want the boat.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
They really want the boat, and then they leave it when they teleportation circle out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Well, somebody else has found it, probably. Or maybe it's Sink. Again, because it's not very seaworthy.
Yeah.
No, it's just that 13 on the tinkering check is really good, and they're gonna find it campaign 3. Ashton's gonna find it, and he's gonna be like, I'm really into this boat, and I don't know why.
I don't know why. They're just really into this boat.
Map also.
So they want this-
Matt also produces a beautiful hand-drawn map.
Oh, it is amazing.
It is so
It's a
pretty.
good map.
Also, the lake.
It's a good old map.
Also, the lake to me at least kind of looks like Germany.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Having never been to Germany, I can't back you up on that.
I mean, you can.
I'm pretty sure you guys
think-
don't really see the borders of Germany very often, do you?
I also think.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant that, like scenery-wise.
No!
that there
Yeah.
was a specific
No,
lake.
no.
that you
I
were
was
really...
going to
We don't have
say
fungal
that
forests
it's kind
here.
of hard to see the shape of Germany on a map when you're in Germany, the country. I don't think that'll help you, friend.
No. Now that you're saying that, like yes, okay, the outline of the
Yes.
lake from Matt's map does look like the outline of the borders of Germany on a map. But when you put that in the notes, I thought you were like, this lake reminds me of a really specific lake in Germany. I'm like, I can't help you there, friend.
Sorry,
No.
I can't go with you there. On
No, we don't
on
have,
it, yeah.
I don't think, we don't have fungal forests or crystal caves that I'm aware of.
that you're aware of yet.
True, yes.
Be the change you want to see.
That sounds really
Do
dark.
I want to see this change, though?
I mean, so there's quite a bit of rotting things.
Yes. Recent zombies.
Oh, what? Oh, what?
And-
Oh, yeah, we're not, all skipped the part where they did, like, a boat tour pulled by shark.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
forgot
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. They lasso Keyleth up on the boat, and then they also take the carpet, which, or at least Tiberius takes the
With
carpet.
Vex, yes.
Because he has to be the main character.
With Vex, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, which also just makes a point out of how redundant the boat is.
The Virgin Tiberius. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please, I'm done.
Version Tiberius, Chad, Percy
I was-
meme.
Yeah, I was going to say the Virgin Tiberius and Vex on the flying carpet versus the Chad, Vex, and Percy on the flying broom.
Or on the new flying carpet.
Which they also have.
Yes.
And Vex kind of wanted to make out on.
Yes,
No,
make
she
out.
definitely wanted to screw on the broom.
They have definitely attempted screwing on the broom and have done it on the carpet. Definitely.
Definitely. Anyway,
Boat tour, yes, and then they discover a cave, which, I mean, you're on a mission, but okay, yeah, go check out those caves.
Yeah, this definitely felt like I need experience points.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole thing,
For
like
grinding?
Yeah.
yeah, like that's whereas Matt like the tone of encounters is shifted. Matt has like one big encounter instead of a bunch of small ones because he doesn't have to worry about giving them enough experience points because everything is milestone leveling, so he can just be like, story arc over, you guys are now level 5.
Yeah,
Yay.
we are still in the power leveling. This goes by numbers, and not everybody levels up at the same time stages of the game. And they're also just
Which also persists all the way through
Yeah.
the campaign.
yeah. So
Vecna was such a heaping pile of experience that they all got to 20 for it, but
just to even things out, probably.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which means that they're still higher level than the Mighty Nine.
And forever they shall remain.
And forever they shall remain. So, they go check out
Yes.
that cave, in which something rots.
Yeah, they find very recently deceased bodies in there who are fresh enough to still be moving.
And they get attacked by
Dun,
zombies.
dun, dun.
And
Yeah,
that was the end. Also, I think there's a cloaker in this cave, but that's next episode.
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is really just Matt turning to the Underdark section of the monster manual and being like, here's that, and here's that. We've got Dwergar, we've got Mind Flayers, we've got Umber Hulks in an earlier episode, we've got Cloakers,
An effervescent
we've got...
snail, if you please.
Oh, is that what you called the Umber Hulk?
No, the Ember Hawk is
I was
turned
like,
into a
what?
snail, and then we made a Twilight joke.
Oh, I was like... But they did the Umber Hulks, they did the Bullet. This is really just Matt going the who's who of the Underdark without
Mhm.
Drow. That's the only thing that is missing from this arc, is Drow.
Yeah, Matt apparently has a trauma from this one D&D book with a drow protagonist from the 90s or whenever.
Drizzt Do'Urden, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, that dude. So I think that's why drows are just not happening this campaign. Are they?
Yeah, no. Well, there's one Drow that kidnaps Terry, and I think that's the only Drow.
Oh
in the
yeah,
entire-
right. That one. Yeah, okay. I think that's why. That's
Yeah,
not
but,
Anyway.
but Drizzt Do'Urden is the only, like, basically he's like the token good Drow, capital GDTM.
He's the good drow.
And
he's not like the other drow.
He's from the city of Menzoberranzan, which comes up all the time in Forgotten Realms stuff. It's like the big drow capital. And I think the book started out pretty good. And I don't think in and of themselves there's anything wrong with the books. I haven't read them. I know the author very recently that he is going to at least change the tone of the like only one good drow, like making the drow a little less what they are. But it inspired so many edgy token good drow, chaotic good copycats of Drizzt that given that Matt has been involved in D&D for a very long time, I am not surprised that he's a little gun shy about drow.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Like, he makes a joke about this dude at some point. I again can't source it, but I remember it vividly.
There's also in Order of the Stick, which for those of you who don't know, is a D&D stick figure webcomic that's been running for a very long time. Very early on, they run into like the evil opposites group to the adventuring party, and the evil opposite of the genderqueer elf is a male drow with 2 scimitars whose name is Zitri, and who's tailored his entire build specifically to beat Varsuvius, the party wizard, and Varsuvius gets rid of Zitri by invoking the copyright infringement of Drizzt.
Is that a spoiler?
Oh no, we have to spoil the Order of the Stick now?
Probably, I guess. Because I can't shut up.
No, you're good. We spoiled other things, among them Dragon Age. I think we haven't spoiled
not in this
episode.
but
In other episodes, I remember.
We spoil things all the time. That's why we have warnings. Oh, by the way, one thing we didn't mention is that we end the episode basically, they do some shoutouts afterwards, with Percy telling Grog he gets to throw a shark at a zombie, which, good premise.
Yeah, I do love how much Percy and Grog really do understand each other.
Yeah.
Me too. I think it's very much Percy's, like, Percy has had this older brother.
Grog is Percy's id.
His id and his brother, yes.
Yeah.
Alright, Christine.
Okay.
Yeah?
Do you know what we do now?
Well, you sound like you rate him. Like, how good was the episode?
If you scroll up on
what?
the notes to point 7, what do you see there?
Oh, the Purvan Scale!
Woo!
Woo, the scientific superlative.
A party member of mine listens to this podcast and has informed me that they cringe every time we call this scale scientific.
Like the Richter scale.
Yes, like the Richter scale.
Sure. How it's pronounced.
Yana, start us off. What does the P in Purvan stand for?
The P is for pizzazz, which is basically everything about presentation and stuff that we can rate here. We've given points for shirts. We will have given points for the dance party. And in this case, I'm pretty sure we can give points for the really, really beautiful map. And also the character stats that now appear at the bottom, so you don't have to look at the Twitch chat all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitch chat, I feel like points are removed for this continued presence of the Twitch chat.
Yeah, it's not bad yet, and also they have we haven't reached. We did a test episode with episode 43, where just constant Twitch chat and constant popping up of
it's still on in episode 43?
Exactly.
It is.
So that's when we'll start to dock points. Right now,
should have known better about that
right
point.
now, maybe not so much.
Yes. Though it is very fun in episode 44, when the Twitch chat is like, haha, Vex dies.
Oh, we are going to deduct all of the points then, which is also, incidentally, the episode by which the joke about the scale is going to make sense.
Yes. But anyway, I am leaning towards a +3. These go up to 5 and as low as a -5. So,
okay.
I'm leaning towards like a +3.
I wanted a +4, actually.
+4. Okay. Do you want to split?
Tiebreakers, Christine.
I am also... See, without having seen your other episode ratings, I can't necessarily give it for sure, but I would say probably also a +3, just because everything's pretty clean within the episode, but I did find the presence of the Twitch stat. It just the way the whole layout with it there is just kind of
All right. So we democratically decide that it's a +3.
There we go. The
Woo!
U in Purvan stands for, oh boy, uncomfortableness.
Yeah, this is where we're going to deduct points. So because the ongoing sexual harassment of Kima is
bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It's
it's
bad.
I don't know if this episode is the worst. There's going to be more, unfortunately. But it is.
I mean, how
really
much worse
bad.
than Scanlan showing her his dick is it gonna get?
Yeah, coercing her into looking at his dick.
I mean, this is. I think this might be the worst.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards a.
Yeah, I don't remember anything past that. Yeah.
I mean, either nothing worse than this happens, or we have all suppressed that very much, and if so, I'm very ready to enhance the scale towards negative points when we get there.
Yeah,
I think the only mitigating factor is that Pike isn't present, so Scale
that's
also
true.
can't be gross at Pike.
So, are we saying a -4? -5?
-4 sounds adequate.
-4.
Yeah.
So we are at a -1 already.
Woo!
Because it's a -4 because it's not a real human at the table being gross at another real human
And
at
it's
the table.
just the
I think we
dick
all know
and
what
not a
we're talking
boner.
about. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody take a drink and stay hydrated. R is for role-playing realness. And for as much as we railed on the Keyleth freaks out scene, Marisha is almost in tears during it, and she does commit to acting this out, which is, I think, the most intense roleplay moment we have seen so far.
Yeah, I also think
I agree with you
this
there.
episode is interesting because they stay mostly in character through all of it, or they do go out of character.
True, yes.
But they react to each other in character. There's the whole spat on the armor that stays in character. It's just they're very committed to what they're doing, and I think that that's commendable. It's enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what do you think we should give it, Jana?
3?
3? Okay, put 3.
Everyone
Yep.
agreed? Okay, so we're at +2.
Let's do. V in Purvan stands for vexiness.
Which is a pun. You see, Christine? Christine, we're being clever. We're clever, Christine.
Notice us.
Can you tell?
Vexiness out loud.
No, you have to see it written.
I'm looking at it written. I see it!
There we go. There's not a lot of Persalia in this.
It's a very...
I'm
There's
smart.
not a lot of Persalia moments in this, but there are a few Vex moments that are fun. She has a couple of good lines.
Yeah, do we have to deduct points for Tiberius hitting on her?
No, that's not her
That's
fault.
not
That's
Vex's
just
fault.
uncomfortable.
Okay. It is a negative amount of Persalia.
We've addressed that.
Yeah, it's a negative for everyone. It's a negative for human rights. I feel like civilization is taking a step back.
All of humanity.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards a 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a 0.5.
She had a couple good lines, but nothing hugely stood out.
A 1 or a 0.5. Not a negative score, but not a lot.
I think a 0.5 is more accurate here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm willing to negotiate for a 0.5.
So we were at plus 2.5?
2.5.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, do you want to do one, Christine?
Well, A is for action. And
Yes.
there was action in this episode, but it also felt a lot of very random encounter, gotta get that done. I mean, it was more plot focused than some of the other things, like, for instance, what's gonna open up next episode. But I don't know, maybe like a 1,
A 1?
maybe?
Yeah.
Because it's not very pointed. It's the Kavarn fight will definitely up the action, but this was just kind of a standard D&D.
Yeah, you are, by the
fight.
way, totally
Yeah.
allowed to say 0. But if you want to give it a 1,
0 is the neutral.
But I mean, there was. Yeah, I'll
You
go
don't
0.
have
I'll
to.
go
If you want to
neutral.
give it a 1,
There was a fight. A fight happened. I mean, I don't really. It was a fight happened in this episode, and that was
I would
it.
argue for some entertainment points because of the banter surrounding it, but just the queen being kind of awesome, and also
that's
Grog and
true.
Keyleth with the earth elemental shenanigans and the football carrying. So there were some entertaining and enjoyable elements in this otherwise kind of generic fight.
Yeah, alright, maybe I'll go back to my original call of a 1.
1? You go with 1? Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. And finally...
Oh, that's a 3.5.
Yes, and finally, N is for 9 cents, which basically just means shenanigans that lead to nowhere, things that are just needless character bullying.
Yeah. Like, there are shenanigans that are at least entertaining or character revealing, but, like, okay, so the positive example for this would be the whole girl talk shenanigans they get into in, like, episode 43 and stuff, which are kind of irrelevant, but a lot of fun. And the negative points for this campaign would be just the incessant abusing of guard NPCs.
Yeah, and for this, I want to negotiate for a -1 just because of...
Okay.
It's so hard to beat Kima.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, that might count. Oh god, yes. I mean, and this is a point where I actually want to defend the Mighty Nine, because for all the irrelevant, superfluous, unfocused side adventures they went on that only slowed down the episodes and distracted from the little bit of plot they had, they never did this.
No, they didn't. At this point, the cast learned better. So, maybe a -9, possibly a -2.
A -9?
No, what's my brain is... I'm
You
sorry,
said
my
-9.
brain is melted cottage cheese.
No, I mean, I'm okay with a -1 because we have covered it in uncomfortableness, and it's in this category doesn't weigh in too much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, like, protect the Mighty Nine for a second.
Yeah, no, you're
because
right.
in all fairness, they didn't do this.
No, and 9 cents is more about, like, running away from the plot. It's not so much about harassing.
And even when they were doing the shenanigans, it was to keep Kima away from Keyleth's breakdown, so it wasn't like there was no point to it.
Yeah.
It just didn't need to be
exactly.
like this.
I mean, it was gross.
It was.
I'm not defending it by in any way, shape, or form. But
it happened for a
terms of-
reason, and not just because.
Yeah, it wasn't.
bullying
It
guards
wasn't
is
just.
But it was insufferable.
Yeah.
Also, I could put Vax pissing in here, but, like, do I want to?
Oh, that actually fits better with 9 cents, doesn't it?
Sure it does. So, are we okay with a -1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that brings us to what, a 2.5?
I think so, yeah.
2.5. Not bad.
That's a pretty solid score.
2.5.
Honestly, considering the fact that I have specifically messaged you while you were asleep and was like, I think I'm actually enjoying this episode. I don't think that's a bad score. It's pretty good.
No, it's a pretty good score.
Yeah, especially for early CR.
Yeah.
It's a fairly interesting...
Yeah, I mean,
It's so telling that the one with the legit
was-
sexual harassment of an NPC is also the one we have to say, like, well, besides that, it's actually one of the more enjoyable ones.
It was focused.
It was focused.
Like, in terms of
Interesting stuff
where it
was
was going,
happening.
they were doing
as much
plot.
as
They were doing character.
As much as the battle was, like, kind of a nothing burger, at least it got wrapped pretty efficiently.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a good...
And the fireball certainly helped in that, yeah.
It was like, this episode has, I don't know, I think this shows sort of it's kind of is very revealing about Vox Machina, where, like, the ways in which they are most interesting are also the ways in which they are the most insufferable, and you have to kind of, like, as it improves, it also, you see the flaws, and that's kind of what makes it interesting.
Oh, you put that very nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you for being here,
Well,
Christine.
Thank you for giving this.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you for
me.
contributing your great wisdom about mind flayers.
Thank you for letting me go off on tangents about them. I also have one saved up for vampires, and that should become topical.
We have someone
you might
lined
not-
up for the first vampire episode, actually.
But if you want to, you can always
Well, that's fine.
you can always write us like a paragraph us to read during the episode.
Or we can just get
Honestly,
you for a later episode.
The only commentary I think really needs to be added there, what I've mentioned, is the reason why Delilah Briarwood wears highlight colors.
All right. So, thank you very much to Lulafia for contributing the art for this
The
podcast.
artwork?
The artwork, yes.
That after all the times I had to post it for promotional purposes or to make videos for this podcast, I'm still not getting sick of, so good job.
It's really good. Additionally, thank you very much to Current Sun for the use of our music. Thank you very much.
At Fox Tavern.
Fox Tavern.
You can find it on YouTube. It is linked everywhere.
Thank you very much to our patrons.
Yes, that we, at time of recording, have 2 off, but they haven't paid for naming privileges, so thanks to the 2 patrons we have, you know who you are.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, dear listener, for sticking with us throughout all of this.
And, Christine, what's our opinion this episode? I do this
What do you
thing
mean?
that Jana hates, where we say we usually go back and forth a bunch of times, and then I only cut the ones that we go with. So we just finish with like a random hot take.
A zinger.
A zinger.
In that case, I'm gonna go with Scanlan. Please stop.
Scanlan, please
Stop.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.